Yatra will travel from Kanyakumari all the way to Kashmir in an attempt to unite the country against what the Congress has called politics of divide and hate. Before launching the mega rally, Rahul Gandhi paid tribute to his father in Tamil Nadu's Sri Perumbudur and took a khadi tricolour from the state's Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. Rahul Gandhi launched a series of attacks on the centre while addressing a gathering in Kanyakumari. Let's first listen to what Rahul Gandhi said.
That after so many years after independence, millions and millions of Indian people are feeling the need of a Bharat Jodo Yatra.
India is the institutions that protect this flag. India is a free media that protects this flag. India is a judiciary that protects this flag. And today, every single one of our institutions is under attack by the BJP and the RSS.
The idea is very similar to what the British used to do. Divide India, make Indians fight with each other, and then steal from the Indian people. Those days, it used to be called the East India Company. It was one big company that controlled the whole of India. Today, there are 3-4 big companies that control the whole of India.
Well, the rally will crisscross the country from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, covering over 3,750 kilometers through 12 states and reaching its destination in 150 days. Congress looks at this rally as a bid to strike a connection with the people and create ground for the 2024 Lok Sabha polls, a claim that was met with cynicism. Listen in.
अगर भारत जोड़ो यात्रा करना है तो राहुल गांधी को ये यात्रा पाकिस्तान में करना सही है। भारत में यात्रा करने से क्या फायदा होगा? भारत तो जुड़ा हुआ है, खंडित क्या हुआ? पाकिस्तान ही खंडित हुआ। तो इसीलिए मैं राहुल गांधी को सलाह देता हूं कि भारत जोड़ो कार्यक्रम आप पाकिस्तान में लेके जाइए।
हेमंत विश्व शर्मा आजकल जहर उगलने का काम कर रहे हैं। नए नए मुल्ला हैं, पहले कांग्रेस में थे, अब भाजपा में गए हैं, तो नया मुल्ला ज़्यादा प्याज खाता है। ये संघ के कार्यालय में गए होंगे और उन्होंने अखंड भारत का नक्शा देखा। ये पाकिस्तान मतलब वो उसी लाइन से कह रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान जाए तो भारत जोड़ना है। और ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग कहते हैं कि सारे मुसलमान को पाकिस्तान दे दो और पाकिस्तान को अखंड भारत में मिला लो। तो फिर भेजने का क्या मतलब है?
However, even before the launch, the Grand Old Party had to face criticism when Robert Vadra's photos appeared in the Yatra posters. Many also questioned whether the intent of the entire Yatra was to unite the country or to unite the Congress party itself all over again in its demand to make Rahul Gandhi president. A question that was given more weightage when the Rajasthan Chief Minister himself, when Ashok Gehlot himself said that Rahul Gandhi is a natural leader of the party and he will bring together the party. Mind you, this is at a time when Congress has announced a purported schedule for presidential elections in October.
न्याय करेंगे हमारे साथ में, जो निर्णय करेंगे उस वक्त में ये अपना परा नहीं देखते हैं, ये हकीकत है। गांधी परिवार की सबसे बड़ी खूबी मैं ये मानता हूँ, वो नहीं देखता है ये मेरा है या पराया है। आज भी राहुल गांधी के पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए हैं कांग्रेसियन कि राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष बनेंगे तो पार्टी एकजुट रहेगी।
Well, this Bharat Jodo is to relaunch Rahul Gandhi and then to put him in the post of the president because the members in the party are not accepting of the party president. So instead of Bharat Jodo, they should first Jodo their party. I mean, that's the problem today, that party is not together. There are people in the party who are leaving, quitting party, who are raising questions on party, and not only elderly people, not only people like Ghulam Nabi Azad, youngsters like Shergill also, both people from all level of age are quitting party.
So what is the real agenda of the Yatra? Is it Parivar Jodo, Congress Jodo as the BJP alleges, or is it to unite the country as the Congress party claims? Let's find out from our panelists. We are joined by RP Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP. We have author Dr. Anand Ranganathan joining us on the broadcast. Gargi Nandi Roy, political analyst, joins us along with Sanjay Jha, an author. Kamruzaman Chaudhary of the Congress party is joining us this evening as well. And we have Bhavana Ramana, actor and political analyst, on the panel as well. Good evening to all of you. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, there are a lot of layers and aspects to this entire Yatra and the kind of reactions that the Yatra and the response that the Yatra is receiving. Let's peel those layers one by one. Now the BJP has taken a jibe, and these jibes have only intensified throughout the day. BJP is saying the Congress party first needs to unite the party itself. Bharat ko kya jodenge, pehle Congress ko jodiye. How do you respond?
Swati, this Bharat Jodo Yatra is not just a Yatra, it is a revolution in the making. And I, as a congressman, I can well understand how the BJP leaders are being rattled. Because this is the first Yatra ever undertaken post-independence where we are talking of uniting the communities, where we are talking of uniting the societies. Whatever Yatras have been held by the BJP leaders so far have been divisive in their nature. I don't want to go into any specifics of their Yatra. But you see, when a film star is not allowed to enter into a temple just because he made a comment some 11 years ago, there are instances where people's houses have been bulldozed because they have criticized the government policies. There are instances where journalists went to cover events and they are languishing in jails. This is the situation that we are now at present in India. It's an attempt by the Congress party and our leader Rahul Gandhi ji to unite the different sections of the society, make the youth who have never seen the Mandal, Kamandal or the Babri agitations till now since their birth, to remind them of our glorious past, of our glorious history and make them proud Indians once again. That's the main motto of the Yatra.
Are you saying, or is the Congress party saying we are not proud Indians at this point of time and that our country is broken and the Congress party is trying to bring everyone together? Is that what you're saying?
Swati, there is a difference between you are a proud Indian, I call that a pseudo-nationalist. Why I call that in such a way? Because you know who is a nationalist and who is not a nationalist. It seems that we have to take the certificate from this so-called nationalist, the pseudo-nationalist. There is a difference. The nationalism, when we fought the independence movement, you name one leader of the RSS who participated in the freedom struggle of the country. Till date, after 75 years, we are yet to acknowledge the what you call this, the Balidan of the Gandhi family. They have lost one of their grandmother, one of their father. This is the sacrifice to the nation.
Agenda of the Yatra. Now again, I am asking you these questions because you're bringing up multiple points. Now, is that the agenda of the Yatra, to remind the country of the sacrifices made by the Gandhi Parivar? And if that is also
not only the Gandhi Parivar,
then the BJP stands vindicated in saying that the Parivar is above the party.
No. I told you, the youth of this country, they have not seen the Mandal, Kamandal agitation. They have not seen the Babri agitation. They have not seen the 1985 Narsangars 84. They have not seen. They need to be reminded of the history that wherever we went into a divisive mode, this country has lost. The country's society has lost. Now it's the time to restitch our alliances between different societies. That's the main motto of this Yatra.
All right, restitch alliances with societies, and the conclusion that one would draw after listening to you is more than Bharat Jodo Yatra, it sounds like an anti-BJP Yatra. RP Singh, the allegation is that whatever Yatras were carried out by the BJP after independence, they were not to unite the country, they were to break the country. And what is BJP's problem? Is BJP rattled that the Congress party under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi is carrying out such a massive Yatra in the country, and that it may actually have an impact, because Yatras in the past have had changed fortunes of the parties?
Swati, if I have to start with this, that this Yatra idea is of 2000. This is 2022 today. It's a borrowed idea of earlier times, and now they are trying to copy it. But the Congress is Congress. I mean, they don't have new ideas of governance. They never had new ideas of governance. Neither they have new ideas of reviving the party. But the gentleman was talking about the country has been divided. Let me give you some figures. 871 riots took place in Congress regime. 243 happened in Jawaharlal Nehru era. 337 happened in Indira Gandhi rule, and 291 in Rajiv Gandhi's regime. And also, even in Sonia Gandhi's remote control regime, there were riots which happened in Muzaffarnagar, Bharatpur, and Kokhrajhar. I mean, these are few which I am mentioning. There are many others. And what are they talking about? I mean, they are talking about communal tensions, and they are talking about that they are going to join India on basis of some agenda. Who has alliance with SDP in Karnataka? Who has alliance with AIUDF in Assam?
who had alliance with Indian Union Muslim League in Kerala, who had alliance with Indian Secular Party. Give me a second in West Bengal. Did I interrupted you, sir? Please.
No, that is
So party who has been known for having alliance with Muslim leagues or parties which have a agenda of communalism in country. They are talking about Bharat Jodo.
Okay, you're saying the Congress party cannot preach the BJP
trying to relaunch. Hold on, gentlemen.
Okay, so you're saying the Congress party cannot really preach the BJP on the issue of communalism. But I want to bring in Sanjay Jha, because Sanjay Jha is very interesting. Rahul Gandhi, of course, is leading the entire yatra. Many are saying that Rahul Gandhi first needs to focus on the party. पहले भारत को जोड़ने से कांग्रेस पार्टी को जोड़ना जरूरी है, because the Congress party is imploding from within. Leaders, stalwarts are quitting the party. There are several other veterans who are demanding transparency within the party. So a party that itself is shrinking in the states and imploding from within, how would that party be able to unite India?
Swati, a very valid question, but a quick rejoinder to my friend R.P. Singh. Mr. Singh, your own government told Parliament that between 2016 to 20, there were 3,400 riots in India. So kindly get your facts right. Anyway, Swati, your question is extremely germane. And I do believe that the Congress party has to do a couple of things at the same time. Please remember that the party doesn't work with blinkers on. Today, any political organization has to multitask. So you've got to be ready for the Gujarat and Himachal elections while the Padyatra is on. You have to have your presidential election. It's not either or. These are not mutually exclusive. So political organizations that have been part of it, I can tell you, they have talent, they have a certain structure, a process, and all these things can happen at the same time. But the critical question that you raised, I think, deserves a response, because at the end of the day, the Congress will have to deliver electorally. And one of the purposes, I think, of the entire Bharat Yatra, I believe the Congress is doing it late in the day, but better late than ever. And I think, you heard it in Rahul Gandhi's speech. He's invoking the point that the British divided India through the divide and rule policy and ruled over us, and we all know his that matter. And the Congress is convinced about it, that the narrative that the BJP has polarized India principally on religious lines, using that aggressive Hindutva campaign to basically win elections and not govern the country, which is why it links to price rise, inflation, unemployment, the destruction of institutions. I think if Rahul Gandhi uses this platform intelligently, gets the political messaging across, there are multiple events held over the 150 days. And Swati, you are part of the media. No one can ignore the Congress till the cows come home, because the party remains, despite being diminished and dwindled to 52 seats, one of the few formidable political organizations that can actually take on the BJP, and frankly, you never know with politics, even defeated. So I believe if the Congress leverages its political messaging, Rahul Gandhi is able to actually galvanize the cadres of the party, and I think at the end of the day, politics can change dramatically. As you rightly mentioned, yatras have a spectacular impact on people. Just take one example, Swati. Rahul Gandhi walking, 3,570 kilometers. I think, even his worst critics will have to concede that is humongous.
But
and
will
if the
that
party
help
is able
him
to
connect?
sustain it,
Ultimately, there should be an impact electorally.
I can't hear you, Swati.
Ultimately, electorally, there should be some impact. And will he be able to connect with the people is my question. I want to bring in Dr. Anand Ranganathan. The political blame game aside, technically speaking, as far as the history of Yatra is concerned, Dr. Ranganathan, not just national parties, but regional leaders like Akhilesh Yadav, Digvijay Singh in Madhya Pradesh and Jagan Mohan Reddy have benefited from their Yatra. Do you think Rahul Gandhi would be able to create an impact?
Good evening, Swati. I'm very confident that through his Bharat Jodo Yatra, Rahul Gandhi will manage to unite India against the Congress. Because as long as you have a party where a man in his 50s is still called the youth leader, where he can preside over one electoral defeat after another but is still evolving, where he can lie on an industrial scale and even apologize to the Supreme Court but remains the beacon of truth, where your compatriots are more meritorious but they will never upstage you, where you indulged in tragedy porn and visit the victims of crimes in a BJP state but ignore the victims of similar crimes in a Congress state, where you keep people poor through socialism but become rich yourself, where you oppose the very farm laws that you promise in your manifesto, where you stomp on the human rights of 1 million but oppose the abrogation of the law that allowed it, where you and your family ban books, arrest poets, writers, journalists, storm or burn down newspaper buildings, impose the emergency, but you still claim to stand up for freedom of speech and expression, where politics is in your shirt and your pants but your kurta pocket is torn, where you toil for an hour amid the poor and then take a week's vacation to recover, where you demand persecuted Hindu refugees be brought to India and given citizenship, when you in your power oppose it when you are out of power, when you haven't excelled in anything but get to decide who gets the nation's highest award, when you are responsible for the state of our poverty, but poverty is a state of mind for you, where you hate Hindutva, but you run a government for 3 years with a partner that claims to love it, where you wear a Janehu over your coat and do a temple run before each election, where you propose the bullet train when in power but oppose it when out of power, where you propose a new parliament building when in power but oppose it when out of power, where your party in the night in the wake of a terror attack but think fictitious saffron terror is the bigger challenge, where entitlement has changed your mind so completely that nothing grows on it, where your founding party has split more than uranium but you still insist it is the party of the freedom struggle, where every morning you wake up at night. So Swati, as long as you have a party led by someone with the aforementioned qualities, you will always unite India against the Congress.
You'll have to give us a moment, Dr. Ranganathan, to gather ourselves, because that was a long list of reasons why you feel that this yatra is going to go against the Congress party. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, I don't know how many of those reasons you got, but please respond.
Let me tell you.
No, basically Anand is a very nice author. Yeah, can I please?
Yes, Mr. Chaudhary, please. Mr. Jha, I'll come back. I'll come back to you.
Writer, though I have not read even one of his books.
There is no need
I can catch the fact, the frustration. Yeah, I can understand his frustration at the how rattled he is at Rahul Gandhi undertaking such a yatra. If at all the yatra is successful, if the yatra is happening in India and is uniting the people of this country, is uniting the different communities of this country, then why are you so afraid, Mr. Ranganathan? If you feel that Rahul Gandhi is nobody, is out there to destroy the Congress party, then so be it for you. Why are you so rattled? Let the Congress party be destroyed because of Rahul Gandhi. Ignore him. Let the people of this country expose people like you on national television who they feel that the Congress party is a gone case. Then why do you worry about the Congress party? Forget about it. Nobody worries about it.
Swati,
but then please ask the Prime Minister to answer a few questions that Rahul Gandhi ji will be asking over his yatra over the next
Dr. Ranganathan,
150
it's not just the
days.
BJP, but even you are rattled, and if Rahul Gandhi is actually going to go ahead and destroy the Congress party, let him. Why are you so rattled?
No, to think that I will be rattled by someone who is still using a rattle and he is more than 50 years old. But to be honest, I must say Kamruji is absolutely fine. I encourage him to join Rahul Gandhi in his 3,400 liters of yatra. Oh, sorry, kilometers of yatra. Kamruji, you must accompany him.
Okay, I want to bring in Sanjay Jha. Like I said, there are several aspects to this.
That's another example.
Okay, let's Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, 1 second. I want to bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, several aspects, like I said. Another aspect was Ashok Gehlot's statement that gave this entire yatra a completely new angle. Ashok Gehlot saying that it is only Rahul Gandhi who can unite the party. If he comes back as the president, it will be great for the party. If this is Congress party's Bharat Jodo Yatra, why is Rahul Gandhi being projected in a particular manner? Is this a relaunch pad of Rahul Gandhi?
I'll answer that question, but a quick response to Anand Ranganathan's standard playbook of hyperventilating with a rehearsed script. Let me tell you, I think Mr. Chaudhary is absolutely.
This is not about me, Swati.
Mr. Chaudhary is absolutely. No, 1 minute. Let me don't interrupt me.
In fact, I have always supported you.
Now don't interrupt me, please. Now please don't interrupt me.
If your suspension can be removed, I will be the happiest person. Sanjay, you are the future of Congress.
Hello.
Rahul Gandhi is the past of Congress. Please don't encourage Rahul Gandhi. You should be the president of Congress, and I will vote for you.
Let him
I will
respond.
vote for
Mr.
you,
Jha.
Sanjay. If you become the president of Congress, I will vote for you.
Mr. Jha,
Okay, fine.
you're getting a lot of support from the panel.
Party, and you can't do it shouting Narendra Modi's hosannas every day in the evening. The larger point, Swati, is this: that end of day, the way Anand and other people are mocking Rahul, the way the lady is laughing away to glory, in my opinion, it's a manifestations of an extremely parochial mindset. You know, if tomorrow Narendra Modi loses, he will, sooner or later he will. Amit Shah becomes history. That happens in politics. You don't win all the time. There are no permanent winners and losers. But we should never lose political grace. I'm very disappointed with the conduct of Anand, Gandhi, Roy and RP Singh for mocking Rahul Gandhi. This is not the way, I'm sorry, with due respects, this is not the way we are going to create any civility in our politics. But to answer your question, I think the Congress party needs to understand the dichotomy, Swati. That end of day, Rahul Gandhi can be a great crusader for them. During the Yatra, it's popular, let me tell you. Congress people in the South, they are hugely attracted by the Gandhi political brand. And I'm very sure that the Yatra can become a spectacular success if the Congress party does its events and media well. But when it comes to the Congress president, I still believe that Rahul should not take up that responsibility. Running an organization, creating a campaign strategy, working with teams is where he has struggled so far. And the party has talent. Why not bring in a Priyanka Gandhi, Sachin Pilot combined and let them take the party forward? I'm going to tell you this right now. Do a poll with your viewers and they will prefer a Sachin Pilot, Priyanka Gandhi combined to a Narendra Modi, Amit Shah combined that truly has, in my opinion, been detrimental for India.
Okay. Gargi Nandi Roy, why is the BJP talking about, this being Parivar Jodo Yatra? It's not that there's no dynasty politics in other political parties. So why mock Rahul Gandhi? Why mock Congress party?
Because it is very evident, Swati. I think it is not now, since the time of Indira Gandhi. See, any political party, like Sanjay has talked about Sachin Pilot, for any political party, for its expansion, there has to be a secondary and tertiary level leadership. Congress lacks that because of its psychophancy culture, and that is from Indira's time. Indira is India, India is Indira. And now it has gone to such height that without a proximity with the family, one cannot be at a top post. Tell me, Swati, who is the leader in Congress who inspires some confidence? And they talk about Hindutva, they ridicule BJP, but they are forgetting that Congress does not have an alternative or constructive vision that has electoral resonance. What is that vision? And people at last 10 years, they have gone through a decolonization. Mr. Sanjay Jha has to understand. Kamruji was talking about pride. Now the people of India are taking pride in their history, in their glorious past, which was erased by the Congress historians and all. So now they're realizing what Congress has done. So what is that alternative to the cultural nationalism that Congress has to offer? No, nothing of that sort. And it is a relaunching of Rahul Gandhi, no doubt, and also launching of Vadra, which is poster. It is very evident.
Yes, that is the third aspect.
It is very clear.
That is the third aspect. Bhavna Ramana, is there a lack? Is there really a lack of leadership, lack of faces in the Congress party, or is the Parivar not willing to? One second. Or is the Parivar not willing to accommodate another leader?
Yeah, Sanjay ji, tell me.
No, I want Bhavna Ramana to respond to that.
I'm not the person who can really use
please let Bhavna Ramana come. She hasn't spoken.
Yes, whom do you want?
Yeah, I'm not a person who can use such humongous words, and then I do not have such kind of a language also. And in fact, I was really laughing through because I really have an appreciation for everyone who has a capacity of speaking it so well. I'm not the person at all who can really talk so nicely and so precisely and things like that. But with this Bharat Jodo Yatra, what I can say is, politics in this generation has been turned out to be a social media. Via social media the politics is happening, via media the politics is happening. So it has taken a different route altogether. I think Bharat Jodo connecting one-to-one, which will always appeal to the people, I'm sure of it. Whether it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi, whether it is Mr. Narendra Modi also, it's been the same. Even Mr. Narendra Modi has got humongous response from the people. Whenever he has gone one-to-one on the Yatra, he has got the humongous response everywhere, whether it is Mangalore to Gujarat or koi bhi, kahin bhi, everywhere. So what people want is how well a person, a leader candidate, a leader, the persona of a leadership, how well that he or she can connect to them is always a question mark for every individual. One is that, and it can also be the other way too. It is also for a leader to understand the scenario. Unless you do not go to the ground level, how will you understand the reality? Reality is not about the social media. Reality is not the media.
Yeah, in that case,
reality
Ramana, there are two very quick points that I want to make. One, as far as Narendra Modi is concerned, the response that he gets in the Yatra translates into votes during elections. One. Two, is this also an attempt by Rahul Gandhi in that case to connect with people on ground zero? Is that what you're saying? So not just Bharat Jodo Yatra, but Rahul Gandhi is trying to connect with the people. What do you think? That is going to make him more appealing?
Yes, there is no problem at all. Yes. If it is an attempt, I will agree, it is a very great thing, and why shouldn't be too? He should make an attempt. There is nothing wrong in it. And a person, a man who comes out and shows his face, even after his failure, is a real man. That is what I would want to say.
Okay, a man who shows up despite failure is a real man, RP Singh.
As Mr. Anand, he spoke so well. I mean, really spoke so well.
Well, can I thank you?
After a quick response from RP Singh.
Yes, thank you, Bhavna ji.
Yeah. Dr. Ranganathan, one second. Just a quick response from BJP, and I'll come to you after that.
Well, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is talking about Bharat Jodo, man who doesn't know what Bharat is. I mean, he talks about that Bharat is union of states. That's his concept of the Bharat. I mean, he doesn't know that in Badrinath, the Pandas of Brahmins of Nambudripad, Kerala goes.
I want to come once.
No, let Mr. Singh finish.
So they go and serve there and
okay, RP Singh, finish your point, please.
And then Brahmins from North India goes and serve in the Meshram. But for him, Bharat is just after 1947. Before that, there was no Bharat for him. I mean, he doesn't know Bharat is a nation since ages. So that's what Bharat is. And then what is talking about Bharat Jodo? I mean, opposing 370-35 is Bharat Jodo. Opposing surgical strike is Bharat Jodo. Opposing air strike is Bharat Jodo. Opposing GST, which is unified country economically, is Bharat Jodo. Man, that's the concept of Bharat Jodo. And then man who can differentiate, I mean, between the cow and the buffalo, the black cow and the buffalo, God bless him.
Okay, RP Singh, Sanjay Jha wants to come in, but Sanjay... Okay. Dr. Ranganathan and then Sanjay Jha. Miss Roy, I'll come to you as well. We have enough time. We have enough time. Yes. Dr. Ranganathan.
No, I just wanted to say something. First of all, thank you very much, Bhavna ji. I'm a big fan of yours, so I'm very grateful for your compliment. But if we get serious for a minute, I quoted about 18 facts, if I'm not mistaken. All of them are facts. Let me take out 3 from there, and then you will realize why. You can have as many kilometers of yatra as you wish, but if you are not serious or genuine, people won't believe you. Like one of the facts I mentioned, the 3 farm laws were in the Congress manifesto. I can quote it chapter and verse to you. The same farm laws that are in a Congress party's manifesto are then called black farm laws by Rahul Gandhi. Why would people believe him? When Rahul Gandhi says economy has to do well, at the same time, he wants to oppose the privatization of public sector units that are 1800, 4 of them are non-functional.
Okay.
How will nation progress? भारत कैसे जुड़ता है? भारत आदमी अमीर बनता है तब जुड़ता है. भारत फिलॉसफी और ये morality और ethics से जुड़ने वाली बात अलग है. India has to become a middle income economy. How will it become if all the reforms that this government is doing are based on those initiated by Congress are now being opposed by Rahul Gandhi? Please answer this question, Bhavna ji.
Yeah, sure.
Sanjay Jha wants to come in actually.
Swati, let me just kind of enlighten. Swati, let me just enlighten Mr. Ranganathan, because he's picked up the farm laws issue. Mr. Ranganathan, do you know that the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, in Parliament, in the first year as a Prime Minister, you know how he mocked Manrega? He said this is going to be the living monument. Let me finish.
No.
Let me finish.
What's your point?
Let me finish. He mocked it. He said this is
he never mocked Manrega. He mocked the process of Manrega.
Disaster. Guess what? The master of political hypocrisy, and probably one of the people who has championed lying with a straight face, has since only increased allocations for Manrega. So kindly don't
how goalposts have been shifted.
Lectures.
Sanjay will not answer. And Sanjay, you were supporting farm reform.
Dr. Ranganathan is saying, and first
Sanjay,
RP Singh said Rahul Gandhi does not know what Bharat is. Dr. Ranganathan is saying that he is...
Because you were one of the few ones who were standing for the farm reforms.
Okay.
And now you are against farm reforms.
Okay, Sanjay Jha, there are some uncomfortable questions that Rahul Gandhi might have to face, uncomfortable issues that the Congress party will have to deal with. Is that going to happen during the Yatra 1? RP Singh of the BJP alleges Rahul Gandhi does not understand India to unite India. Please respond to the specific allegations.
I think RP Singh's comment is far too pedestrian and puerile for me to even dignify it by responding to it. But let me just tell you, since one of the other panelists, Madam Roy, talked about the
let me share with you this.
Madam Roy,
man who can differentiate between kilometers.
But a BJP leader called Prime Minister Narendra Modi as Bhagwan, God. And one other BJP leader said he's the 11th avatar of Lord Vishnu. सीको फिंसी अपने पार्टी में देखे मैडम, अपने ही आईना को देखा कीजिए, दूसरे पर आरोप लगाने से सच्चाई नहीं बदलेगा.
Yeah, can I make a quick rejoinder?
Okay, I don't believe in those kind of deified Sanjay Jha. Who said what? I am not answerable for that. But I wanted to explain what Mr. RP Singh said about Bharat Jodo's party. Bharat Jodo with the icon of Tupre gang, Kanhaiya Kumar. Sanjay ji, do you remember Kanhaiya Kumar, the icon of Tupre gang? He is now in Congress. He is talking about Bharat Jodo. The people who wanted to break India into pieces. Those are the people who take in Congress, and all your veteran leaders are leading you. So one has to do the introspection. There has been a fight between old and the new guard. And in that fight between old and new guard, Congress doesn't know the external fight. So understand that I think Congress is an introspection. Bharat is unified. Bharat doesn't need.
Okay, Bharat does not need Rahul Gandhi or the Congress party to unite it. Bharat is unified. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, come in.
I just wanted to make a quick comment on Madam Gargi. Madam, can you just spare me 10 seconds?
Okay, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, please.
Yeah, can I cannot shout over the others.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, please.
Yeah, Madam Gargi ji said just now that she is very proud in revisiting the history of the country. I am very sorry, Swati. Madam Gargi needs to know that once while revisiting the history, we find that a bulbul bird is being used by Savarkar to fly in and out of the jail in Andaman. That is the history that you people are teaching our students, our children. This is the level degradation that you people have brought into this country by your only whims to change the history, nothing more than that. You have renamed cities.
Okay.
You have renamed.
Will this change the fortunes of the party? Will this change the fortunes of the party?
Gandhi did not, the Nehru did
Ma'am,
okay, Miss Ramana.
Now you come back to
yes, one, and I have one small answer.
government is.
Ma'am, all right, one by one.
You asked
one by one, please,
the
Miss Ramana.
agriculture
Let her come in,
reform bill
please.
was actually initiated. Earlier it was with the Congress. Farm bill, you said that it was designed by the Congress and it was initiated by the BJP. So BJP always claims most of the programs it was actually initiated by the Congress, and it has been effective after BJP has been coming to power. But I only have a small question here. Did BJP had dearth of creative people in it to come up with new programs of their own? Why did they have to copy?
Why are you working on Congress party's policy? Is there a dearth of think tank and policy makers in the BJP? RP Singh, quick rebuttal, RP Singh, please, quick rebuttal.
First, let me tell Sanjay Jha, his party colleague said
आर्मी चीफ है सड़क छाप और सड़क का गुंडा, समथिंग ऑफ दैट लैंग्वेज। तो आप कितने सड़क छाप हैं जो आप कन्हैया कुमार की इज्जत करते हैं? दिख रहा है कितने आप सड़क छाप हैं। जो देश के टुकड़े टुकड़े करने की बात करता है आप उसकी इज्जत करते हैं, अभी आप कह रहे थे। तो आप कितने घटिया साबित कर दिया।
प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड टू बाजार रमन। एक दूसरे पर पर्सनल लाइफ और पर्सनल रिमार्क की कोई जगह नहीं होनी चाहिए डिबेट में।
No, he took a personal jibe, so I'm telling you कितना बड़ा सड़क छाप है वो दिख रहा है।
ठीक है,
कितने बड़े सड़क छाप।
ठीक है, I have to bring in Kamruzaman Chaudhary quickly and then Dr. Anand Ranganathan, if time permits me. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, what was Mr. Vadra's pictures doing on the Yatra posters? BJP saying ये परिवार जोड़ने का काम हो रहा है।
So, अच्छा, what is your allergy with Robert Vadra? Can I just ask you that question?
Is he
tomorrow? You just reply to me. What is your allergy?
Does he post
if I like a particular person, I can put it up. This is not an official poster of the Congress party. Some of the supporters have put it up. What is your problem? संजय जाट फोटो कल कलकत्ता जब आएंगे मैं उनका फोटो लगा कर मेरा घर के बाहर में लगा दूंगा। He is suspended Congress member. That is my personal district for Sanjay Jat.
Does not matter. The fact that he holds no official position does not matter. What is the problem? He is also part of India. भारत जोड़ने की बात हो रही है। वाड्रा भी इंडियन है, उनका भी आ गया पोस्टर में फोटो, तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
Kamruji, if I can, thank you. No, Swati, I want to take whatever time is granted to me, 30-40 seconds, in answering the wonderful question asked by Bhavna ji. Because what she said is, if BJP is, and she's right, if BJP is fulfilling all Congress's ideas, then why is BJP so bereft of new ideas? To that, I will say, Bhavna ji, two things. Number one, you very well know that those who discovered or invented the double helical structure of DNA were Watson and Crick. उसमें वॉटसन का कंट्रीब्यूशन कितना था और क्रिक का कितना था? When you are working for India, it is nothing like BJP's ideas or Congress idea. For example, Swachh Bharat, Ujjwala scheme, Jan Dhan Yojana, all these are landmark BJP ideas. But I am not denying there are wonderful Congress ideas. So when nation progresses, now Kamruji, this is unfair. You know, this is unfair because I am complimenting the Congress. Here I am complimenting the Congress. I am commending Congress. Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt.
निर्मल भारत योजना.
Please don't.
Have been copied by the BJP.
ठीक है, वही उसी का जवाब दे रहे हैं कमरुज़मान चौधरी. That's what he is answering. वो उसी का जवाब दे रहे हैं.
Yes, at the end of the day, whenever a common citizen like us, Kamruji, votes for people like you, it is for four things: बिजली, पानी, सड़क, toilet, health. Now you can say, ये तो आम आदमी का आइडिया था या कांग्रेस का आइडिया था, बीजेपी का? These are the common amenities which every citizen must get. When you're working for India, there is nothing like Congress idea or BJP idea. Your job is to bring it on the table to basically make it possible.
Okay.
Please.
All right. Dr. Ranganathan will continue to be with us on debate number 2 as well. That's all the time I have for this big story, the biggest political development. BJP says this is nothing but Parivar Jodo and Congress Jodo, while the Congress party claims that this yatra is to unite India. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to debate number 2. A comment made in 2011 has come back to haunt actor Ranbir Kapoor, and the timing could not have been worse. The Bollywood star, along with Alia Bhatt and the director of their upcoming movie Brahmastra, Ayan Mukherjee, were headed to Mahakaleshwar temple in Ujjain ahead of the movie's release to seek Lord Shiva's blessings. However, their plans did not come to fruition, as they were forced to return in the face of vociferous protests outside the temple. Before we tell you what was it that raised the hackles of right-wing groups, here is what the couple posted while en route.
Hello, we are back once again with some more information. Firstly, we are on our way to
Ujjain, Mahakaleshwar temple, which I'm very excited about right on the eve of our release. I'm very happy we found the time to go.
Ayan went before the motion poster launch. We are going right now before the film launch, so we're very excited. Lots of good energies our way, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, their plans never materialized fully. Hours ahead of the visit, protests broke out in front of the Mahakaleshwar temple. Members of Bajrang Dal opposed Ranbir visiting the temple, carrying banners that said that they won't allow a beef eater into the temple without an apology.
हम यहाँ पर काले झंडे दिखाने आए, हमने उसके अलावा हम बड़े शांतिप्रिय तरीके से अपना विरोध कर रहे हैं। हमने सिर्फ काले झंडे दिखाने यहाँ पर आए थे। पुलिस की इस कार्रवाई का कड़ा विरोध किया जाएगा।
हमारे कार्यकर्ता के साथ पुलिस ने मारपीट करी है और उसको अंदर लेकर गए। प्राथमिकता से प्रथम हमारा जो आग्रह है, पहले तो यह है कि हम रणबीर कपूर जा रहा है उसका विरोध करेंगे, उसके बाद जाके जो इन्होंने हमारे कार्यकर्ता के साथ मारपीट करी है उसका हम विरोध करेंगे।
गौ माता का जो अपमान करते हैं उनको तो कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा, कहीं भी हो, चाहे महाकाल मंदिर या अन्य धार्मिक स्थल पर, कहीं भी उनको प्रवेश नहीं दिया जाएगा। जो गाय का मांस खाते हैं वो बाबा महाकाल के मंदिर में कैसे आएंगे? सार्वजनिक रूप से नहीं कहना चाहिए, आप व्यक्तिगत रूप से कुछ भी करो, वो आपका व्यक्तिगत विषय है, लेकिन सार्वजनिक रूप से उन्होंने बात करके पूरे सनातन धर्म की जो है मखौल उड़ाया है, ये गलत है।
And in case you were wondering when was this comment made, it was 11 years ago during promotions of Ranbir's movie Rockstar, where while mentioning Peshawari influence on his family's food habits, he said that he loved to eat beef as well as mutton. Now the debate is whether or not there are any restrictions on entry of faithfuls in the temple based on their food habits. Here is what the priest of the Mahakaleshwar Mandir had to say.
ये बताइए, ये मैं अपनी तरफ से जानना चाहती हूँ कि ऐसा कोई रूल या ऐसा कुछ लिखित में है कि कोई भी गौ मांस खाने वाले को अंदर एंट्री नहीं दी जाएगी? क्योंकि बहुत सारे मंदिरों में कपड़ों को लेके या लोगों के पहनावे को लेके कई रूल्स एस्टैब्लिश्ड हैं, तो यहाँ की अगर बात की जाए तो ऐसा कुछ है कि लोगों को फॉलो करना है?
नहीं, देखिए, गौ मांस खाने वाला खाए उसमें कोई एक आपत्ति तो कर नहीं सकता, लेकिन जो गौ मांस के विषय में जो इस प्रकार के प्रश्न करके सारे देश के सनातन धर्म को ललकारा जाए, वो गलत था उनका तरीका। लेकिन अब कोई कभी चोरी चुपके खाते हैं, होटलों में जाके खाते हैं, उसके लिए कौन विरोध कर रहा है? लेकिन वो कह रहे हैं कि हम गौ मांस खाते हैं, तो ये गलत तरीका था और उसी के कारण सनातन धर्म को ठेस पहुंची और बजरंग दल पूरे देश में इस प्रकार के सनातन धर्म के लिए लड़ता है, तो उन्होंने उसका विरोध किया।
The Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh has clarified that there was no restriction on visiting the temple on part of the state. In fact, all arrangements had been made for the visit. Listen.
दर्शन के लिए कोई रोक नहीं थी, उनके साथ के लोग सभी, आयान मुखर्जी से लेके बाकी लोग सबने दर्शन किए, वहां पूरी व्यवस्था थी, व्यवस्था की गई थी। इनसे भी आग्रह किया गया था कि ये चलें। मेरी वहां के प्रशासन से बात हुई और जैसा मुझे प्रशासन ने बताया कि बोले हमने आग्रह किया, वो नहीं गए प्रदर्शन को दृष्टिगत रखते हुए। और ऐसा शाब्दिक शब्द का प्रयोग भी जो कलाकार हैं उन्हें नहीं करना चाहिए जिससे लोगों की भावना आहत हो।
All right, let's open this up and let's go across to our guests. We're joined by Sriraj Nair, national spokesperson of the VHP. We have Mithun Vijay Kumar with us, author and activist. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary and Dr. Ranganathan continue to be with us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. Sriraj Nair, the state made all the arrangements. The state never stopped the couple or Ayan Mukherjee from entering the temple. Neither did the temple authorities. So on what basis was the Bajrang Dal protesting against them? On what basis were the Bajrang Dal members saying we won't allow them to enter the temple and seek blessings of the Lord, when neither the state nor the temple authorities objected? So on what basis was Bajrang Dal protesting?
Well, first of all, you heard what the Honorable Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh said, that nobody stopped him. In fact, they themselves withdrew from seeking darshan. And the other part is the way Ranbir Singh had a democratic right of freedom of speech, the way he ridiculed that he eats beef.
It's not Ranbir Singh.
The similar way, there is, in a democracy, there is a right to protest also. So the protesters protested. So what is wrong in that?
No, but saying that he will not be allowed to enter the temple, Gaumas khane wale ko temple mein nahi jaane denge. I am asking the reason behind that. Temple authorities never objected. The temple authorities have no such guidelines. The state has set no such guidelines.
See, over the years, there is a big anger amongst Hindus, the way a section of film industry has been ridiculing and mocking the Hindu Dharma, the saints, our way of worship. People like Mahesh Bhatt and Javed Akhtar giving interviews to channels like Al Jazeera and mocking the Honorable Prime Minister, calling him a fascist. The actors, some actors going to Tukde Tukde gang,
what does that have to do with Ranbir Kapoor? Aren't you?
So all these things, there is a big
aren't you mixing up issues? What does that have to do with Ranbir Kapoor?
Understand that what kind of has he got the guts to say that he enjoys pork? Let him have the guts that last night he enjoyed pork. Let him tell. See, he selectively, they cannot bash and
Even
mock
if
and
he's had
ridicule
that.
Hinduism,
Even
Hindu
if
Dharma.
he's-
Let us be
even
very
if he's
clear.
had folk.
So there is anger.
Even
so
if
he should
he's
seek
had
an
folk.
apology. The Hindus have a large heart, they'll forget. And
No, sir. Sriraj Nair, that is not my question. If you have a large heart, if you're going to forgive him or not, if he's seeking apology, that's not my question. My question was about, are there such guidelines that the temple authorities have set or the state government has set? Dr. Ranganathan, now this has sparked a massive debate and there are various reactions coming in from across the country. Some devotees even also said कि आप चुपचाप खाते हैं तो खाइए. Why are you saying it out publicly? Why are you hurting sentiments of people by saying it out loud? One, it has also sparked the debate of freedom of choice.
Right.
Yeah, Swati, can I?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Swati. Let me deal with this. This is a wonderful debate and I hope I won't be interrupted. Just take a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, because as I see it, there are three issues to this and a couple of them are philosophical in nature. So please allow me to elaborate. Number one, Swati, Hinduism has survived more than 5 millennia because it imbibes the scientific virtues of diversity, empathy, independent thought and reform. In Hinduism, religion is an offshoot of the way of life. While as Abrahamic religions or ideologies, way of life is an offshoot of religion. It follows that the former is less shackled by rigidity or by rules and diktats and is more mutatable, celebrating diversity of its followers. As always, the source, the fountainhead, dictates the mutability and eagerness to change. In Hinduism, there are sects that promote and celebrate atheism, Charvaks. There are sects that reject Vedas altogether, Lingayats. How gloriously ironical is that? Rejecting your foundational holy scriptures and yet being proud Hindus. Can this happen in any other religion? Hinduism is an all-accepting, all-celebrating, all-questioning idea. It is owned by a billion people and yet no one owns it. You can eat or drink what you want. There is no compulsion. Number two, I, Swati, am a vegetarian. But for me, all animals are the same. You can't love one and eat another also. Millions of devout Hindus from Kashmir to Kerala eat beef, have done so for ages. Kangana Ranaut eats beef, declared this herself, but no one objects to her visiting temples. Thousands of beef-eating foreigners routinely visit this same temple. There is no objection, there is no rule. The BJP opposes cow slaughter, but allows it in BJP ruled Northeast states. And as for those saying Hindus never ate beef, let me quote something, quote, there was a time in this very India when without eating beef, no Brahmin could remain a Brahmin. You read in the Vedas how when a king or a great man came into a house, the best bullock was killed. And whose words are these? Swami Vivekananda. 3. Even though I am not for a beef ban, we have to decide, do we go by rhetoric or science? Politics or facts? The world over, Swati, there is intense scientific debate on the harmful effects of beef production and consumption. The prestigious journal PNAS reported recently that beef production requires 12, 11 and 6 times more land, water and nitrogen respectively than the average of all other livestock. Beef contributes 41% to all emissions resulting from animal agriculture. That is the same amount as all emissions resulting from India. Beef agriculture produces methane, a gas 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide in trapping heat. The government of the world's second largest beef consuming nation, Argentina, recently turned vegan. Plant-based burgers are replacing beef burgers. The writing is on the wall. Stop gambling with nature. Turn vegan, not last vegan. Finally, 30 seconds. For all those who brand anyone asking for a beef ban a fascist Sanghi, let me quote someone now. Quote, Mother cow is in many ways better than the mother who gave us birth. Cow slaughter and manslaughter are, in my opinion, the two sides of the same coin. Who said these words? Mahatma Gandhi. Jao unko troll karo.
Mr. Vijay Kumar, is this hangama unwarranted?
See, first of all, I would like to ask Mr. Anand Ranganathan how he came to know that Kangana Ranaut eats beef. I don't see that she has made a public statement that she eats beef or something. Anyway, coming to the Ranbir issue, when Ranbir Kapoor was promoting his film...
let me answer this straight away, Mithunji, just 10 seconds. Kangana Ranaut tweeted it herself that she eats beef. Somebody objected, but took it to court. The Punjab High Court. The Punjab High Court dismissed the petition. So what I am saying is a fact, sir.
The only thing is she doesn't market about eating beef for the promotion of her movies. And when Ranbir Kapoor was promoting his film Rockstar, when come on, let me finish. When Ranbir Kapoor was promoting his film Rockstar, he said that he loved eating beef. Now when he's promoting Brahmastra, he wants to visit the Mahakaleshwar temple and do some perform some rituals over there, which is kind of an appeasement that he believes that, okay, appeasing a particular section of the society might help him in his movie promotions. Is that what he believes? I think so, because that's what he's exactly doing, right? Because when Rockstar was released, he said that he made a beef statement. Now he's visiting the temples for the appeasement.
But Rockstar
and I don't think that the protest was...
Rockstar had, I believe, nothing to do with beef. One. Two, are there guidelines? Are there guidelines to how a movie should be promoted? Whether these actors can visit the temple or not? Do we have such guidelines?
Ideological level. Now let me ask you, on an ideological level, I think the left liberals would have liked the movie more. Maybe that was the reason. The best logic I could apply to that. And coming back to the question, right? The protest was actually a very peaceful protest. They only raised flags and placards. What was wrong with that? Protest is a fundamental right guaranteed to people of this country under Article 19.
Absolutely.
It guarantees the right.
That does not give you the right to question.
He had made a statement.
That does not give anybody the right to question the kind of food that the other person eats. That does not give anybody the right to question the kind of food that the other person eats. That other person also enjoys equal rights.
No, he could have gone live and said that I'm eating beef and promoting Brahmastra. He could have said that. No issues with that.
But that statement, the statement that you are talking about was made in 2011. It was a different movie altogether. He was talking about his family's roots. He is talking about his family roots and the Peshawari influence on the food habits of the family. That's when the statement came. He wasn't. No, one second. No, you're here. No, 1 second. No, Mr. Vijay Kumar, that statement was made in 2011. That video went viral now, and that's why his entry into the temple was objected.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. The video that went viral now, which was shot maybe 10 years back, it's because it is hurting the sentiments of people who actually believe in a temple culture. The temple.
Okay, so are you saying that? Are you saying so? In that case, are you saying that people in the northeast who eat beef are hurting the sentiments of the entire country? Tomorrow there will be a protest to stop people from northeast and all those states who consume beef also. One second, Mr. Vijay Kumar, 1 second. Let me just ask you this question and bring in Kamruzaman Chaudhary also. He hasn't spoken at all. So does that mean that tomorrow people who eat beef are going to be stopped from entering the temples? Kamruzaman Chaudhary?
Yeah, Swati, basically I want to bring a different dimension to this entire debate today. This is an organized effort by this attention-seeking, or rather I will tell them idiots, to discredit
let's not resort to that.
No, these people, they deserve to be called by their language. It comes below the belt. I repeat, you need to...
There is no need to use any such word for anybody, no such remarks. Please speak on the topic, Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Time waste ho jata hai, sir. Please speak on the topic.
M.F. Hussain from the country, because he hurt the religious sentiments of these people, then why don't you go and protest against the British for their acts in 1857 when they used the pig and the cow, the fat to grease the bullets?
Portrayed like the way
Sriraj Nayak.
Now the basic point, coming to the basic point that I was
wanting to... wants to come in, sir. I have very limited time. Let me accommodate as many reactions as I can.
Of our Devi Devatas. He should have drawn his mother's picture.
Can I come in here?
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, first of all, to my good friend Kamruji, he is taking the selective example. He talks about M.F. Hussain who drew those pictures, which definitely, I can say, fornicating Indian goddesses and all sorts of things offended Hindu sensibilities. So, I am for the free speech. But did Kamruzaman ji stand with Nupur when she merely quoted the hadith? तब क्या हो जाता है इनको? तो selectively हर चीज को quote करते हैं. और number 2, मैं इसमें कहना चाहता हूं कि जिनको ये idiots कह रहे हैं, इन्होंने किसी का गला तो नहीं काटा ना? They were democratically protesting. They weren't stopping anyone from entering the temple. So Mr. Kamruzaman even objects to that. What is harm in that? It is a democratic country. Everybody has a right to protest.
It is a democratic country. Everybody has the right to protest, and so does the individual to choose what they want to eat. Everybody has been given equal rights by the Constitution. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'd like to wrap up the debate on that particular note. Thank you for joining us.
When journalism is led by integrity, and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth, and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate question and uncover the whole truth.
Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school.
I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9. Only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please?
क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं?
I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start to the day.
सिर्फ खबर दिखाना नहीं,
असर होना भी जरूरी है.
I am Richa Sharma.
I am Amita Vadra. I am Pratibha. I am Swati Joshi and you're watching the Morning News Hour.
Viewers, I have a point of view and I'm not afraid to look you in the eye when I express it. This is because I know that it's based on an honest, hard fact. A hard fact is uncompromised, just like me. On India Upfront, get the power of the hard facts. Remember, every good argument is based on hard facts. It's just as simple as that.
What is on my agenda? Information, not unnecessary aggression. Persistence, not pandering. I keep my ears to the ground, eyes on issues that truly matter. Because getting the whole picture is my focus, not hostility. People, not propaganda, is my priority. No bluff, no bluster, no bias. Because your agenda is my single point agenda. Watch NewsHour Agenda with me, Padmaja Joshi, weeknights at 10 p.m.
Whenever news breaks,
You will see us.
process it, analyze it,
And broadcast it.
after the spot reporters,
We are the first responders.
we are at the front line.
Of every news event.
We are situation analysts, raw, live and unedited. Pure news, pure passion.
Times Now, action begins here.
Don't be scared, Rahul.
Oh no, I am petrified, sir. मेरे खिलाफ तो आपने ऐसे केसेस ठोक रखे हैं सच बोलने के लिए. मैं तो डरता हूँ जो लोग बेचारे झूठ बोल रहे हैं उनका क्या होगा?
Governments of the Congress party in the 60s and the 70s. Poverty hasn't gone away, so then should people also question the Congress party कि कब से हमको बेवकूफ बना रहे हो?
Army in our country, unlike Pakistan, cannot rule anything. And you yourself said just 3 months ago that we hold the army in the highest regard. So please don't politicize that army right now.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
जब आप मुख्यमंत्री थे तो आपने क्या?
What is your interview for?
My interview is for asking about Kashmir.
I'm not ready to give her interview.
Of the day.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar called on President Draupadi Murmu for a courtesy visit in the national capital. Earlier today, Nitish Kumar also met NCP Chief Sharad Pawar. BJP's Janotsav has been once again postponed. The event to celebrate 1 year of Bommai government and 3 years of BJP rule in Karnataka has been rescheduled to September 11. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has reached Tokyo. He will participate in the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial dialogue tomorrow and hold bilateral meetings with his Japanese counterpart. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav themed Ganesh Pandal spotted in Gujarat, Surat during Chaturthi festivities. The pandal depicts the culture and heritage of state and features many freedom fighters. Security forces have recovered a huge cache of arms and ammunition in the Sonitpur district along the Assam-Arunachal Pradesh border. Forces suspect that the militants had kept the weapons hidden in the jungle area. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut approaches special PMLA court for bail in a money laundering case. Raut is presently in judicial custody till September 19. A fire broke out in Noida Sector 18 market. A dozen people were stranded on the second and third floor. Fortunately, all of them were evacuated safely. Joe Biden nominates Indian-American Arun Subramaniam as New York District Court Judge.
When journalism is led by integrity and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate question and uncover the whole truth.
Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school.
I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9. Only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please?
क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं?
I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start to the day.
सिर्फ खबर दिखाना नहीं,
असर होना भी जरूरी है.
I am Richa Sharma.
I am Amita Vadra. I am Pratibha. I am Swati Joshi and you're watching the Morning News Hour.
Viewers, I have a point of view, and I'm not afraid to look you in the eye when I express it. This is because I know that it's based on an honest, hard fact. A hard fact is uncompromised, just like me. On India Upfront, get the power of the hard facts. Remember, every good argument is based on hard facts. It's just as simple as that.
What is on my agenda? Information, not unnecessary aggression. Persistence, not pandering. I keep my ears to the ground, eyes on issues that truly matter. Because getting the whole picture is my focus, not hostility. People, not propaganda, is my priority. No bluff, no bluster, no bias. Because your agenda is my single point agenda. Watch NewsHour Agenda with me, Padmaja Joshi, weeknights at 10 p.m.
Whenever news breaks,
You will see us.
process it, analyze it,
And broadcast it.
after the spot reporters,
We are the first responders.
we are at the front line.
Of every news event. We are situation analysts, raw, live, and unedited. Pure news, pure passion.
Times Now. Action begins here.
Don't be scared, Rahul.
Oh no, I am petrified, sir. मेरे खिलाफ तो आपने ऐसे केसेस ठोक रखे हैं सच बोलने के लिए. मैं तो डरता हूँ जो लोग बेचारे झूठ बोल रहे हैं उनका क्या होगा?
Governments of the Congress party in the 60s and the 70s. Poverty hasn't gone away, so then should people also question the Congress party कि कब से हमको बेवकूफ बना रहे हो? gentlemen, with 1.5 years to go for the biggest dance of democracy, Congress has launched its mission for 2024 with the Bharat Jodo campaign. Covering a distance of 3,750 kilometers on foot across 12 states in the next 150 days, the Yatra aims to present revamped, repackaged brand Rahul Gandhi to the opposition and the Janata. Before embarking on the Yatra, Rahul took part in a prayer meeting at the Rajiv Gandhi Memorial in Sri Perumbudur. But why does Congress desperately want its Bharat Jodo campaign to resonate? Nitish, touted to be the face of the main front, is busy hobnobbing with opposition leaders to create an anti-BJP bloc. Earlier, he met KCR, Rahul Gandhi, HD Kumaraswamy, Arvind Kejriwal, Sitaram Yechuri, Om Prakash Chautala, Akhilesh Yadav and Sharad Pawar. While the agenda is BJP Mukt Bharat, most of the regional satraps have national ambitions that do not feature the Gandhis and perhaps even their party. Rahul Gandhi launched the Halla Bowl on the centre, asserting that India is headed towards disaster. He blamed BJP RSS for creating a divide in the country and attacking democratic institutions. Listen in to what Rahul Gandhi had to say.
Why is it that after so many years after independence, millions and millions of Indian people are feeling the need of a Bharat Jodo Yatra?
India is the institutions that protect this flag. India is a free media that protects this flag. India is a judiciary that protects this flag. And today, every single one of our institutions is under attack by the BJP and the RSS.
The idea is very similar to what the British used to do. Divide India, make Indians fight with each other, and then steal from the Indian people. Those days it used to be called the East India Company. It was one big company that controlled the whole of India. Today there are 3-4 big companies that control the whole of India.
Well, the Congress has branded the event as a transformational moment in the history of Indian politics. It hopes to benefit from it just as NTR benefited in 1983, YSR in 2003, Akhilesh in 2012 and Jagan Reddy in 2019. However, as Robert Vadra, who doesn't hold any position in the party, found pride of place in Yatra posters, the BJP has dubbed the Congress's flagship campaign as a smokescreen to not unite the nation but actually to save the parivar. Listen in to the war of words.
न्याय करेंगे हमारे साथ में, जो निर्णय करेंगे उस वक्त में ये अपना परा नहीं देखते हैं, ये हकीकत है। गांधी परिवार की सबसे बड़ी खूबी मैं ये मानता हूँ, वो नहीं देखता है ये मेरा है या पराया है। आज भी राहुल गांधी के पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए हैं कांग्रेसियन कि राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष बनेंगे तो पार्टी एकजुट रहेगी।
कांग्रेस तो अपने लोगों को जोड़ नहीं पा रही है, उनके अपने पुराने समर्पित छोड़कर जा रहे हैं और राहुल जी चले हैं देश जोड़ने। तो राहुल जी पहले अपना घर तो संभाल लेते। तो ये छलावा है, दिखावा है। इट इज हिपोक्रेसी ऑफ द वर्स्ट ऑर्डर।
But why is the Congress facing an existential crisis? Why it's considered by the allies as a millstone around their neck? Over 7 big leaders like Ghulam Nabi Azad, Hardik Patel, Kapil Sibal, RPN Singh and others have left the party in recent times. After Azad exited, 64 J&K leaders also quit the Congress party. The third front or the main front advocates a Congress Mukt alliance. While loyalists want Rahul Gandhi to become the president of the party, his reluctance has left the party rudderless. It was a big blow for Rahul Gandhi when he lost from his family bastion in Amethi in 2019, exhibiting that Rahul's popularity has nosedived. The National Herald scam hasn't really added to their joys. So the legitimate question that we are asking on the NewsHour tonight, Bharat Jodo for Desh or Dynasty? That's the question and that's the debate. Bharat Jodo launched. That's the hashtag and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Suhail Seth, author and columnist, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Ravula Sridhar Reddy, chairman and leader of the TRS, Dr. Sumant C. Raman. But my first question goes to Vivek Bansal, member of the Congress's CWC. Mr. Vivek Bansal, thank you for joining me on the News Hour tonight. I want to just ask you, why Bharat Jodo? Many people are asking the question, is India under threat? Have we not got independence? Because Rahul Gandhi keeps referring to the situation as if we are under the British Raj even today. And number 3, what is Mr. Robert Vadra doing on the Congress's posters for Bharat Jodo? Is he a member of the Congress party?
Your first question regarding why emphasis on Bharat Jodo? You see, of late, what we had been witnessing, which I think there are so many people, the BJP supporters may not be, they may be shutting their eyes to the fact that these days the venom which is being spewed in the name of religion, they feel somehow that they are being gagged and filters are being created in the society. Democracy is definitely under threat. If anybody tends to raise his voice against the government, he's sent behind bars, and somehow the institutions of the government is there to throttle the voice, to bulldoze the voice of the opposition, be it may ED, be it may CBI. Till the time a person is in the Congress, ED is there to question. The moment he joins BJP, everything goes into thin air. So the institutions are being, used to, are being misused to bulldoze the voice of the opposition. So there are myriad issues, and then there is, as far as economy is concerned, that has gone into into shambles. Be it may price rise, be it may unemployment at its peak in this last 40-45 years of this independent India. So all these issues are vexing the youth on the one hand, and the common man. Taking all these things into account, this Yatra is, I am telling you, this Yatra is going to be a game changer in the politics of this country, and this is one of the reasons. Our learned participant, ex-minister, he said that first we should set our house in order, and then we should go for that. You see, that we would settle, that we have to take into account, that definitely. But one has to be very, very practical. In times of crisis, when the party is not in power, when there are these not too many scenarios to offer in the shape of Rajya Sabha and all, so there is a crisis, and people who cannot fight and who just hanker for post definitely are bound to leave the party. And let me tell you, I would sorry to say this thing, talking about internal democracy, we have an example in the BJP that what happened to Mr. Nitin Gadkari when he just raised some serious issues. So let's not talk about that, but at the same time...
so basically what you are saying is there are internal problems within the Congress party, and that is because you are out of power, you are not able to give power and position to your people, they are leaving the party. So it is best now to correct that by going and grabbing power. So Bharat Jodo to bahana hai, basically सत्ता लेना हमको यही हमारा निशाना है. शहजाद पूनावाला, it's very clear in what Vivek Bansal ji said that अंदर की तो हमारी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो तो हैं बिकॉज हमारे पास राज्यसभा सीट नहीं है देने को, तो पहले तो सत्ता लेंगे तभी हमारी पार्टी ठीक होगी.
मैं अपनी कुछ बातें रख सकता हूँ. देखिए, can I please, Navika, I think we should speak one at a time.
You don't have to say what you said. What you said is very crystal clear. Very crystal clear. Bharat Jodo nahi, grab power.
Why all these
Parivar Jodo, that is the agenda. Vivek Bansal, I'm coming to you. Your audio is a little patchy. Shehzad Poonawala coming in and we'll patch the audio again.
Navika, entire day we have got this wrong. This is not Bharat Jodo. It is Mujhe Jodo. Rahul is saying मुझे कोई PM पद से जोड़ो. Robert is saying मुझे कोई पार्टी के पद से जोड़ो. परिवार is saying मुझे कोई credibility से जोड़ो. So therefore this is मुझे जोड़ो यात्रा. And let me tell you how they have in this मुझे जोड़ो यात्रा insulted सरदार पटेल once again. भारत को जोड़ने का काम सरदार पटेल ने कर दिया है. राहुल गांधी की हैसियत भी नहीं है कि वो भारत को जोड़ने का स्वप्न भी देखे और भारत टूटा भी नहीं है कि वो इस यात्रा में निकलने की कोशिश भी करे. हाँ, पर एक बात सुन लीजिए, एक सेकेंड विवेक जी, कृपया करके ऐसे व्यवधान ना कीजिए. नाविका, आई थिंक वी कैन स्पीक वन एट अ टाइम. दैट शुड बी द बेसिक कर्टेसी. कम से कम कर्टेसी मत छोड़ो, परिवार को छोड़ो, तुष्टीकरण छोड़ो, नफरत की राजनीति जो आपने दिल्ली राइट्स में की वो छोड़ो, आप जो राजस्थान में करौली से लेकर छाबड़ा तक दंगे करवाते हैं वो छोड़ो, आप जो जॉर्ज का क्रॉस है उसको छोड़ो, गुलामी की निशानियों को छोड़ो और राजपथ को छोड़ो, परिवार पथ को छोड़ो, कर्तव्य पथ पर आओ, तभी तो भारत को जोड़ोगे. आप ना गुलाम को जोड़ पाए, ना शशि को जोड़ पाए, ना आनंद को जोड़ पाए, ना मनीष को जोड़ पाए, ना राज बब्बर को जोड़ पाए, चले हैं भारत जोड़ने के लिए. अरे भाई, दिस इज मुझे जोड़ो प्रधानमंत्री पद से. देयरफॉर आई कॉल दिस अ पद यात्रा. पद के लिए ये यात्रा निकाली गई है. लास्ट 2-3 पॉइंट्स आई वांट टू मेक एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स. Every night they come on television and say democracy is under threat. These people who imposed emergency, these people who put journalists in jail in Maharashtra and in Chhattisgarh, they have the gall to come and say democracy is dead, and every night they abuse the Prime Minister and say democracy is dead. अपने पार्टी में पहले internal democracy लाओ. 24 years in my party there have been 7 presidents. आपके पार्टी में माँ और बेटा ही चल रहा है 24 साल से और आप कह रहे हैं डेमोक्रेसी को जोड़ेंगे, आप भारत को जोड़ेंगे. आप आखिरी बात में सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं विवेक बंसल जी, कृपया करके डोंट इंटरप्ट टाइम एंड अगेन. अगर भारत जोड़ना है तो पहले बोलो कि 370 हटा, वो भारत को जोड़ा या नहीं जोड़ा और उसका विरोध क्यों किया.
You want to respond, Mr. Bansal?
तो गाड़ी में ही है.
Yeah, I would definitely like to respond to that. That the fact that he said that the family is there. You see, the internal amount of internal democracy can be illustrated from the fact that this G23 group, for last 2 years, they had been raising their dissent, and despite that, they were being heard and they were being given a patient hearing, and their grievances had been redressed. They wanted election. They want to elections are being organized. Unlike BJP, unlike your party, Mr. Poonawala, now don't butt in between, because once you objected, you said that I should show sufficient amount of courtesy. I think I expect the same from you. And when in your party, a leader or a president is imposed without any elections, but we would have elections. Let me tell you, you are talking about the imposition of Gandhi.
Mr. Vivek Bansal, it's not only about elections. You said G23 leaders have been heard. Then why is Mr. Raj Babbar writing this today? Why is Mr. Manish Tiwari raising questions? Why did Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, who was the leader of the G23, so to speak, why did he have to write a resignation letter which says that the security guards and private assistants are taking decisions in the Congress party and the leaders are never available? Why are things disintegrating? You say institutions are under attack against the opposition. I want to bring in Suhail Seth. Suhail Seth, the same Supreme Court which, when they fell out of line to hold a press conference, was hailed by the Congress party. And when the same Chief Justice of India, from one of the 4 who gives verdicts, he was questioned by the same Congress party. I want to ask you, Suhail Seth, is Congress party missing the woods for the trees? Is Congress party picking up an issue of Bharat Jodo and again completely missing the pulse of the people, which knows that this country is united, it is a free and democratic country, and the way Mr. Rahul Gandhi keeps attacking the big businessmen, these businessmen were not born yesterday. They were there on our richest Indians list, number 1 Mr. Ambani and number 11 Mr. Adani, even before this government came to power. So what is Mr. Gandhi actually talking about?
So I have a couple of points to raise, and I will raise them one by one without any interruption. Number one, you began the program by talking about an existential crisis. Today, the Congress faces an existence crisis. It's not existential. Existential is when, you go through feelings and it's more psychological and you begin to question the meaning of life. They are now questioning the meaning, whether they exist or not. Number one. Number two, I don't know who advises these people on marketing, but when you say Bharat Jodo, you're almost suggesting that this country is disintegrated, it's pre-partition. If I were them, I would have used another suffix for Bharat. I would have said Bharat Kishan, Bharat Bol, Bharat, whatever, but I wouldn't have said Bharat Jodo, because it smacks way in the face of the integrated polity and the integrated democracy we are. The third point that you raised about democracy. Rahul Gandhi can't have selective democracies. Rajasthan, because they are in power, it's democratic. Where they are not in power, there is no democracy. I mean, the logic is ludicrous, to say the least. You talked about industry. And I have a point here, and I've made it repeatedly on your program. Enough has been said by Rahul Gandhi of creating this movement and creating this hawa about industry. He cannot even provide one job. So for people who are providing employment, have some respect. For people who are making India stand tall in the comedy of nations, have some respect. These are industrialists who have industriously built their businesses. Their businesses employ lakhs and lakhs of people. If you don't respect Modi, don't transfer that disrespect to people who are earning an honest day's job or honest day's wages. As far as this whole Bharat Jodo campaign with Rahul Gandhi is concerned, now again, Robert Vadra, they've put him. Sometimes I feel the Congress party's inspiration is not Mahatma Gandhi, but it's the Keystone Cops. Every time they plan to do something serious, there's an invocation of a Charlie Chaplin-esque and, Keystone Cop behavioral pattern. It's almost comic to the point of not comic relief, but comic despair. And I really worry for them. Having said that, let me tell you, Rahul Gandhi from Kanyakumari, if he reaches Kashmir, this will be in the highlights of the media. So from that point, it is a smart thing to do. But again, it's too early. 2024, by the time the 2024 elections are, announced, I don't think people will even remember this Yatra. Also, as you very rightly mentioned, Navika, they are doing a Yatra, but they're slowly losing all the Yatris. The people who made up the bulk of the Congress are today people who have revolted. For whatever reason, people are actually leaving the folds of the party because this party is in implosion mode. This party cannot be held together by the Rahul Gandhis of the world. And it is now clear that he's either incapable or uninspired or just reluctant. So either the Congress decides on replacing the leadership with a more cogent, coherent, committed leadership, or continues to flounder. See, Yatras don't win you elections. Yatras are cause amplifiers. What cause are you amplifying? When you say BJP works for a few businessmen, I mean, that is abhorrent. Where does Congress get its funding from? From NGOs? Does Congress get its funding from crowdfunding or from Keto? Congress gets its funding from the same people. How did the Gandhis win election after election? Did they go and actually indulge in crowdfunding? Or did they ask Navika Kumar to launch a program on Times Now saying, Haro hamari jholi? No. It's the same people they are abusing today that they went out for. The same Rajasthan government is appealing to industrialists to come and set up industry in their states. So hypocrisy is not a virtue in Indian politics, or for that matter in any politics. Rahul Gandhi needs to wake up and smell, and he's in the right place. He needs to smell some filter coffee. He needs to understand that this is not the India that they have inherited and they will continue to perpetuate with yet another family member's photograph on a poster. This is an India that is changed. The young are seeking jobs. They are seeking. And if you have issues with employment, flag those. Don't talk about a country's disintegration when a country is united. Don't mock democracy when you have used the same EVMs to win elections.
Well, Suhail said, I don't know, you can lend your services on marketing their yatras better. Maybe, it'll be business multiplier for you. But we as a network do not provide, any programs or any platforms for raising money for political parties. Congress or otherwise. So let me clarify that. But point here that is being made, Mr. Sridhar Reddy. Mr. Sridhar Reddy, the question is, it's almost as if Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party believe that they are the center of the universe, of the Indian universe at least. Because they think they'll go out on a Bharat Jodo Yatra and everybody will come and life will be happy and prosperous and hunky-dory all over again. And everybody will walk into the sunset happy and live happily ever after. They don't even realize what's going wrong around them. They're losing their own senior leaders. Their party members are losing. They're losing touch with reality. The issue here is also when they do a Mehengai, rally. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Suhail said did not say it in so many words, but he gives in some comic element to the entire issue of price rise. So, Mr. Reddy, I want to ask, does the Congress party also believe that with this yatra it will be a marketing campaign to attract opposition parties to rally behind Rahul Gandhi, or do you think that option is closed for Rahul Gandhi?
See, first, we have nothing specific to comment on Congress party's Bharat Jodo Yatra. That is their own belief that, people might come, welcome them. But I don't think the people of the nation are very serious in taking Congress party as a strong alternative today, because in the past 1 decade, they failed twice, and many occasions, Rahul Gandhi himself denied the opportunity to take the presidential post of the Congress party, or he never bothered to take challenges or fight against BJP in the past 1 decade. So it's up to Congress party to plan their activities, whether they are strengthening their own party or they are trying to attract the opposition parties. It's up to their strategies. But let me tell you, it is no more a head or tail game in this country. It is no more a Congress or BJP game in this country. Definitely the people of the country seriously looking for a strong alternative, political alternative in this country. And we wanted to focus on discussing the failures of the BJP government today, whether it is economy, whether it is, price rise, whether it is a serious threat to the democracy, whether it is a problem to the institutions, whether it is suppressing the opposition voices, whether it is using CBI and ED to destabilize the opposition governments and breaking the political parties. This is the modus operandi of Modi's government today. So we wanted to discuss that. We wanted to highlight these things in the country today. Now our leader, today we have taken a mission of BJP Mukt Bharat in this country and will work towards it. And definitely today, the people are discussing. You see the economy, and BJP is always trying to divert the attention of the country by talking about dynasty, they're talking about various other things, various other emotional issues. They never answer why the economy is degrowing. They never answer why GDP is degrowing. They never answer why the inflation is at its worst. They never answer why is BJP, CBI and ED, raiding only the opposition party leaders. So this is the situation in the country, and we wanted to question. Our leader is questioned why we are not in a position to give proper power supply to the farmers of this country.
Fair point. So you are saying that there are several issues that the opposition must pick up. Rahul Gandhi is not cutting much ice, but other political parties in the opposition may have to do so. So Tehseen Poonawala, आपका तो पत्ता कट गया है. TRS and parties which are, hobnobbing with the TRS chief KCR, which includes Nitish Kumar, Sharad Pawar, they are not impressed because in 10 years, they say, Rahul Gandhi has not even been serious about taking up the Congress presidentship position. Forget leading an entire opposition to take on Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate in this country. So Tehseen Poonawala, what is this Bharat Jodo for?
At the onset, I just want to make a request. I will answer that question very specifically, but just allow me to answer it so I can give you some constitutional points. Point number one, why should the TRS or Nitish ji or Sharad Pawar sir or Mamata Banerjee ma'am not aspire to be the Prime Minister of this country, as should Rahul Gandhi? That's the wonderful thing about a democracy. So they all have a right to aspire to be the Prime Minister. Nothing wrong in that. But constitutionally, no, we don't have a Prime Ministerial or a presidential form of democracy. We have a party form of democracy. Even Mr. Narendra Modi is not elected as Prime Minister. The Bharatiya Janata Party is elected, and the elected MPs elect or select Mr. Modi as the Prime Minister as the process of the Constitution. So when the opposition comes to government, which it will, they will select the Prime Minister who will be the Prime Minister. Having kept that aside, I would like to tell Suhail something for whom I have a lot of respect. Suhail, the Congress is not one which is anti-industry. So if at all industry is grown and has been less socialism, it's been in the UPAs and more in Mr. Modi's years. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to articulate, as well I will, but just allow me to. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to... Sure, please. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. What we're trying to highlight is a couple of things. That the Indian economy today is stagnant at best or shrinking at worst. You are today at 2019 levels. You've still not grown. Your unemployment is at the highest. Your employment revenues are not being generated, and this stems from your NCRB data. 1,64,000 Indians committed suicide. 25% of these were because of employment-related issues. That's a very high number for a country with a young demographic like India. What we are talking about is the capital being concentrated in the hands of the few. New investments are not coming into India. That says the RBI data. Every HNI is investing out of India. Just go out of India, go to Dubai, go to Turkey, go to the US, London. Every Indian is there looking at getting a house there. They are not investing in India in new businesses. They are not coming up. Now let me come to the larger issue that I want to make. What is this Yatra about? And this is where I want to end. This Yatra is about saving the soul of India. In 1942, the RSS mocked Mahatma Gandhi for Bharat Jodo. Today, the BJP is mocking Rahul Gandhi for Bharat Jodo. RSS was defeated. RSS in 1942 conspired against the Congress, formed government with the Muslim League and served the British. Today they are conspiring against the Congress. History will repeat itself. The BJP RSS will be thrown out of power in 2024.
My God.
First of all,
I need to respond to some comments here.
Sure. So, Suhail, before I come to you, Shehzad is rebutting a couple of points.
First of all, everyone can aspire to be the Prime Minister. In fact, after Prime Minister Modi, 140 crore Indians aspire to become the Prime Minister. But for you and Rahul Gandhi, you have to perspire, not just aspire. And this is the fundamental difference. PM Modi represents mission and vision, and you only represent ambition for position, corruption, commission, division, disruption and television. This is the fundamental difference between mission and vision and ambition for position. Aspire and perspire, that's the difference. Secondly, let me tell you that you have said, look, first time Navika, after 2014, what has happened? First they used to say, all of us are secular and this BJP is communal, sab ek ho jao, communalism hatao. But today I am glad that there is no vichardhara, it's only Bhrashtachar ka bhaichara between all of them. All of them, including TRS, are common on one point, that they are saying corruption. BJP is saying corruption hatao, hum bol rahe hain Modi hatao. Kyunki Modi corruption hata raha hai, hum sab khade ho chuke hain, and we all will stand in protection of corruption. Now thirdly, no, of course it is, don't raise your finger now, you also keep your finger in check. Now thirdly, I want to ask Tehseen Poonawala कि दुष्प्रचार कब छोड़ो?
I would like a right
No, you can keep rebutting, but first let me clarify.
Let him complete.
दुष्प्रचार छोड़ो, भारत जोड़ो बाद में करो, दुष्प्रचार छोड़ो. First of all, please tell me, it is the same RSS workers who sacrificed their life for the Tiranga during the Quit India movement. Many gave up their life. The Chimurashti Satyagraha or the other Satyagrahas that were led by Vadra Satyagraha and others that were led by RSS workers, their role is given in golden words. But you tell me, who was fighting from Sonia Gandhi's family for Quit India movement or for Azadi of Bharat? Please tell me two people who are fighting from Sonia Gandhi's family. Please stop saying that RSS had no role, no contribution. If RSS had no role, then would Pranab Mukherjee salute the RSS? Would JP salute the RSS? Would Nehruji call the RSS for Republic Day program? Would Lal Bahadur Shastri celebrate and say that RSS did well? Would Ambedkarji quote RSS and say that the RSS is a good organization? Why are you saying these things when such great leaders have praised the RSS? This is your dushprachar chodo.
May I please be allowed to say
one minute. You said something and Suhail said wanted to rebut you. He gets his right of rebuttal first. Suhail said, I'm coming to you, Suman Siraman.
Sure, sorry. I'm so sorry. Suhail, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Sorry, Suhail.
I want to, for the umpteenth time, place a couple of realities before Navika, you, and obviously through you, your viewers. There's enough of bashing of anything that's successful in India. And this bashing has been done by an opposition which believes its only role is to oppose, and not oppose with either logic or with a solution. You can't run a country where you have a problem for every solution, and that's what the opposition has become. The opposition needs to change that because people today have seen through the drivel that is often passed off as solution. Number one. Number two, they're seen. I very clearly said what your leader has consistently said. He bashes 2 or 3 industrialists. Even today, his comparison is not only derogatory, it lacks a sense of history and purpose when he compares the East India Company to some fine Indian corporations that are providing jobs, that are producing made in India. It defies and it flies in the face of the progress that our unicorns have made. It makes Indian entrepreneurs look like derogatory souls. I think it is pernicious. It is reprehensible what Rahul Gandhi has said and what Rahul Gandhi continues to say. You cannot decry industry. You cannot decry the spirit of entrepreneurship. You may have any issues with an industrialist A, B, C, D, E. But you can't say that this whole country is being run by 2 companies. But these are the companies that your states also want in their states to invest in. For God's sake, don't drag industry because you have no political grandstanding logicality to profess. That's my issue. You want to play politics, you play politics on the ground of politics. You cannot play politics by dirting the field and by dragging everyone.
Absolutely,
yes,
and Suman Siraman, nobody has a quarrel with the fact that there should be a robust opposition. The fact that the opposition must raise issues that the country is facing. The opposition must be a bit of a reality check for the government in power. But then shouldn't the opposition also be talking about records of governance in the states they govern? What about Rajasthan? What about women's safety in Rajasthan? What about the fact that people who caused virtual riots in Karoli in April are still on the run? Are these questions not important? So when Mr. Rahul Gandhi comes out and says Bharat Jodo, what is it that he is trying to sell? Is it an idea? Is it an issue that he wants to bind the country with? Or is it just another relaunch of an old brand?
I think, Navika, I haven't spoken so far. I'm sure you'll give me a couple of minutes to make my points. First of all, I think that Rahul Gandhi has started this Bharat Jodo Yatra at a very appropriate time. India needs healing from the fissures that have developed in the social fabric over the last few years, from the decay of institutions which we once looked up to with some level of confidence. And I think that in the institution of democracy itself, which today is slowly losing its sheen. So I think that this is an appropriate time. Whether Mr. Rahul Gandhi will be able to make political capital out of it, I want to first of all disagree strongly with Mr. Suhail Seth. He said about Yatras not having big political returns. I would like to remind him of Shri L.K. Advani's Rath Yatra, N.T. Ramarau's Chaitanya Rath Yatra. As far as the elections are concerned, let us be very clear, Jagan Mohan Reddy, the Sankalp Yatra was the one which actually brought him back to power. his father Y.S. Rajasekhar Reddy's Yatra, and we could go on and on. There are Prime Minister Modi's Gujarat Gaurav Yatra in 2002, when he was the Chief Minister. Mind you, this was just after the Gujarat riots, and Mr. Modi went to the people on this Gujarat Gaurav Yatra. So what are we talking about? Yatras, if packaged properly and if they do stay the course, can have electoral dividends. But whether Mr. Rahul Gandhi will stay the course, this is a 5-month Yatra, 150 days. So we'll have to wait and see whether he stays the course. And I really wish that he does, because the country deserves a strong opposition. Second, very important, the point that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has made is not about capitalism, is not about industrialists at all. It is about cronyism. And I think there is a world of difference between capitalism and cronyism. What we are seeing in India today is a significant amount of cronyism. Yes, was cronyism there in the Congress period? Of course it was there. But the levels to which cronyism have gone in the last few years is what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is speaking about, and he is not in any way putting down industrialists or inciting people against industrialists or decrying investment. The point that Mr. Tehsin made, very, very appropriate. If India is thriving, why are so many wealthy Indians putting their money abroad and seeking foreign passports? Please answer this question.
All right. Why are they leaving India? Sohail said. You hopped off with many of them.
I'll tell you why, Sumant.
Yes.
I think Sumant has raised a very, very, very important point, and I want to address this. You're absolutely right. A lot of people are leaving India. You know why? It's the people who can't get the system fixed anymore. It's people who are using Dubai as homes. These are economic fugitives. People are leaving. Sumant, let me finish. I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. Now let me tell you, the highest number of people that have left the country have been in the last 3 or 4 years. It is not from the time Modi took over till now. Why? Because they can't get things done. Earlier you could manage the system. A, B. If you see today, and I totally disagree with your point about Rahul Gandhi has no reference to capitalism. You and I, Sumant, both know that he is not capable of optical illusions. He is what he says, and he says what he is. When he talks about industrialists, it's bashing industry. When he says ki Amir, it's almost like what his grandmother did. See, the point is you cannot put India at war against each other, whether it's industry versus politics, and then say I'm trying to unite a country. You then decide that I'm going to unite a country. Now you talked about Padyatras. And Padyatras reaping electoral dividend. Yeah. Everything reaps an electoral dividend. But all my point was earlier, and you alluded to it, was A, does Rahul Gandhi have the perseverance and the wherewithal to stay the course?
That's the point, and that is the most important point that I want to take to Mr. Vivek Bansal. Mr. Bansal, today the test of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra is, will he stay on for 150 days and actually participate in this Yatra from Kanyakumari to Kashmir? Most people are questioning that. 150 days, so at a stretch he has never stayed in India.
One sentence, please. One
sentence,
please. One sentence.
To start getting too skeptical about his intentions, and you just wait and see that he is consistently participating, and if he fulfills that, he completes that yatra. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. Why you have to come out with the speculation?
People have tasted the pudding last 8 years as well, sir, and 2 elections.
Yeah, so you see, he is very determined about his yatra. He is very determined about this yatra, and I too would like to say one thing regarding this capitalism and that he is anti-capitalism. Let me tell you that. By that, on the one hand, there is crony capitalism he is talking about, and on the other hand, he is referring that why medium and small scale industries which had died, which had just vanished after this demonetization, why these industries, and ultimately it led to unemployment, why they are not being sustained and propped by the government. The basic question is this: why it is not, it is uniformly governments patronage or his schemes are not catering to that sector. That is the point he is trying to make.
Shahzad Poonawalla, respond.
You see, if the country needs healing, Rahul Gandhi is a quack, not a healer. Because Rahul has rightly said, now what is this? Hamare samay par croonism tha, but that was good croonism. Now it is bad croonism. If these people are croonies, then why are you giving them solar power plants in Rajasthan? Why are you giving them Diggy Port in Maharashtra? Give it to some MSME. And this kind of argument that is being made, it shows the lack of ability to comprehend anything. Let's take the other aspect they're talking about. Berozgari. 31% Berozgari in Rajasthan. What have you done for Berozgari in Rajasthan? Last 1 year it's about 20%. The Telangana person comes and says inflation is very high. The highest inflation is in Telangana. Times of India report, please read that newspaper. The highest inflation happens to be in Telangana, and the highest inflation we experienced as a country has been during the 22 months out of 24 months of Manmohan Singh, above 10%. So those who have not been able to do anything about Berozgari, unemployment, high price rise and other things are coming and lecturing today about how the country needs to be healed. This is the problem. This is the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy chodo. Now secondly, as far as the MSME and other aspects are concerned, in 70 years they created 4 unicorns. Today more than 100 unicorns have been created in the last 8 years. This is the difference. You have in fact promoted corruption, and corruption is actually the root for crony capitalism, because of which many of those crony capitalists who can't get their way, like rightly said by Suhail Seth, have left the country and gone. Because they can't get the things managed anymore, and because there are no more Congress state governments left, there are just 2 left.
Well, Mr. Reddy, before I go, I want to ask you, is the opposition waiting, well, I seem to have lost him, Suman Siraman, is the opposition now this time around going to actually accept Rahul Gandhi as their mascot? That's all there is to this entire issue, because it is the opposition which has said we must unite against Modi, because they can't take him singularly, because most of them belong to regional parties. So do you think the opposition will buy Rahul Gandhi's leadership?
What role you are going to play? Are you a votary for this?
The opposition does not have a choice if Mr. Rahul Gandhi stays the course. Now the problem is, will Rahul Gandhi stay the course is the only question. But if he does, let me tell you, Navika, if Rahul Gandhi persists and successfully completes this Bharat Jodo Yatra over 150 days, I am sure that we are looking at a different political personality and leader in Rahul Gandhi in 2023. Now that's a big if he does complete it fully. But the point really is that, and
are you betting your last dollar on that one? Considering you're in New York,
I genuinely believe. One minute. Neither Sumant Raman, nor Navika Kumar, nor Tehseen, nor Mr. Reddy, Vivek, Shahzad, none of us believes that India's democracy can work with only a single party. None of us believes that. We believe that for a democracy to function in India or anywhere in the world, it must have a robust opposition. But it can't have an opposition which, instead of being robust, goes rogue. It can't have an opposition which, instead of being progressive, is regressive. And it can't have an opposition which, instead of being constructive, is destructive. My appeal to Mr. Gandhi and his fellow Yatris is, build India through inspirational, progressive thoughts, not by telling us every day that we are weak, faltering and disunited. That is not the India we are, that is not the India we will be, and that is not the India that you can ever aspire to lead.
well, inspiration and perspiration, definitely 2 things that are required for being a leader for India, not really giving us some sort of a fearful indication of how the Tiranga is under threat, how India is just going to break up when we wake up from our sleep tomorrow. Well, Mr. Gandhi, that line not quite acceptable to the people of India. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On the other side, Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt star of film Brahmastra has run into a major controversy ahead of its release. A comment made by actor Ranbir Kapoor on eating beef way back 11 years ago in 2011 has upset members of the Hindu group Bajrang Dal, who blocked Ranbir and Alia's entry into
Ujjain's Mahakal temple last night. Bajrang Dal members staged protests in front of the temple, refusing to allow Ranbir Kapoor to go for Shivji's darshan. Let's listen it.
हम यहाँ पर काले झंडे दिखाने आए, हमने उसके अलावा हम बड़े शांतिप्रिय तरीके से अपना विरोध कर रहे हैं। हमने सिर्फ काले झंडे दिखाने यहाँ पर आए थे। पुलिस की इस कार्रवाई का कड़ा विरोध किया जाएगा। हमारे कार्यकर्ता के साथ पुलिस ने मारपीट करी है और उसको अंदर लेकर गए। प्राथमिकता से प्रथम हमारा जो आग्रह है, पहले तो यह है कि हम रणबीर कपूर जा रहा है उसका विरोध करेंगे, उसके बाद जाके जो इन्होंने हमारे कार्यकर्ता के साथ मारपीट करी है उसका हम विरोध करेंगे।
गौ माता का जो अपमान करते हैं उनको तो कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा, कहीं भी हो, चाहे महाकाल मंदिर या अन्य धार्मिक स्थल पर, कहीं भी उनको प्रवेश नहीं दिया जाएगा। जो गाय का मांस खाते हैं वो बाबा महाकाल के मंदिर में कैसे आएंगे? सार्वजनिक रूप से नहीं कहना चाहिए, आप व्यक्तिगत रूप से कुछ भी करो, वो आपका व्यक्तिगत विषय है, लेकिन सार्वजनिक रूप से उन्होंने बात करके पूरे सनातन धर्म की जो है मखौल उड़ाया है, ये गलत है।
This forced director Ayan Mukherjee to visit the temple alone, and he felt bad that the actors couldn't accompany him. Let's listen in to Ayan Mukherjee.
I was feeling really bad that honestly Ranbir and Alia did not come with me for darshan to Mahakaleshwar temple, and both of them were very keen to come with me, and honestly till the end they were very keen that they will come. But when we reached there and we heard about this, I felt a little bit that let me go alone. Eventually I had gone to seek blessings and energy for the film, and that blessing is for everybody. And I just didn't want to take Alia there, in her current condition as well. So I went alone, though I felt very bad, and honestly when I went, I did feel that they could have also come and gotten their darshan, so that is on me.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me inform you, this whole controversy is about what Ranbir said 11 years ago. During the promotions of Ranbir's movie Rockstar, he had said that he loved eating beef and has always been a big beef fan. This perhaps didn't go down well with the Bajrang Dal, who believe this is interfering with their religion. But Madhya Pradesh Home Minister has clarified that there was no restriction by the state on Ranbir Alia's visit. Let's listen.
दर्शन के लिए कोई रोक नहीं थी, उनके साथ के लोग सभी, आयान मुखर्जी से लेके बाकी लोग सबने दर्शन किए। वहाँ पूरी व्यवस्था थी, व्यवस्था की गई थी। इनसे भी आग्रह किया गया था कि ये चलें। मेरी वहाँ के प्रशासन से बात हुई और जैसा मुझे प्रशासन ने बताया कि बोले हमने आग्रह किया, वो नहीं गए प्रदर्शन को दृष्टिगत रखते हुए। और ऐसा शाब्दिक शब्द का प्रयोग भी जो कलाकार हैं उन्हें नहीं करना चाहिए जिससे लोगों की भावना आहत हो।
So we are debating this tonight on whether this controversy is actually reason enough for a comment that has been made. Joining me on the debate, Rahul Ishwar, activist, Chetan Kumar, actor, Suhail Seth, author and columnist, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst. Rahul Ishwar, to you first. Isn't it bizarre that some statement made 11 years ago is picked up and somebody is not allowed to do darshan of Shivji? I mean, is this taking things a bit too far with the kind of activism that we saw yesterday? Because you have a problem, but 11 years is carrying something just too far.
Navika ji, there is a ground level sentiment regarding cow, and we should be mindful of that. We started our first war of independence in 1857 in the name of cow. Mahatma Gandhi was a Gosevak, a Gorakshak, and even in our constitution, Article 48 was incorporated because there is a sentiments. At the same point of time, and I'm a huge fan of Alia and Ranbir, we respect them, we all celebrate, they are from celebrated families, but celebrities and public personalities need to be mindful of what they are doing. See, Amir Khan was engaging with the audience. He understood that one of the, he touched their raw nerves. So he was engaging and even went to the extent of apologizing to the audience. So whenever sentiments are hurt, people do have. That's the reason why Minister Misraji also pointed out there is a sentiment involved. Nobody supports violent protests. Nobody supports hooliganism or heckling. At the same point of time, these great celebrities, we are all their fans and admirers. They should be mindful, sensitive, and they should not be tone deaf. and especially regarding a very touchy issue like cow. Yes, it was made 11 years ago, but there are some repercussions. Those they should be mindful. Nobody is against them per se, but
all
there is
right.
a ground sentiment.
Of course, we know there are sentiments that are attached to the cow and beef eating, and which is why cow slaughter is banned in many states in India. But Tehseen Poonawalla, you're also somebody who's promoting the film. I want to ask you something that was said 11 years ago. Should it be held today? Number one, and do you think controversy before a film release is deliberate, or do you think these activists who prevented their darshan yesterday really took things too far?
I'm going to take the bull by the horns. Those were not activists, they were goons there. They should have been dealt strictly by the police and thrown in jail. You cannot come 11 years later and be offended about what somebody says. What somebody wants to eat, where they want to eat, is seriously their problem. The state and people's sentiments need to stop getting hurt about that. Number two, who is the buck of Baba Shivji is for them and their relationship with Baba Shivji. The Bharatiya Janata Party, their goons, the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, or these jobless people are definitely not going to be the parameter of judging how somebody worships Baba Shiv. That is for them. For the last point, the Home Minister, instead of giving advice to people, should understand that there was a pregnant woman. That mob could have hurt her. He should have come down heavily on those people rather than giving advice to how people should not hurt people's sentiments. If your sentiments are hurt, don't go to the temple where they were there. Why are you going and heckling a pregnant woman who's trying to go get darshan? Is that what any Indian culture teaches you? Is that what our religion teaches you? This was wrong. It was bullying and it should not happen. And I'm going to watch the movie Friday 9 o'clock and my friends are in it and I'm going to promote it. And y'all cannot stop us. Enough is enough.
Nobody is stopping you, Tehseen. Please book as many. Yeah, I mean, nobody is stopping you. People who want to see it will see. But Suhail sir, I want to ask you, once again the boycott culture comes in. I want to ask you, is this a coincidence, or is this just something that's the latest fad?
On this, Navika, I don't know if you remember, you did a show many years ago when this whole Padmavati issue had risen, and there was a self-proclaimed army of devotees who jumped into this thing. We have to stop being held hostage by these rogues and by these goons. They do not represent me, they don't represent my Hindutva, my Hinduism, and they don't represent my compact with my God. They are no one to tell me whether I can go and have darshan. Darshan is my right as a Hindu to go to a temple. Darshan is my right. How many people you and I both know go for Mannat, they go to Vaishno Devi, they go to Tirupati, they go, wo mangte hain, Mannat ke liye jate hain. How can you stop them? Who the hell is this Bajrang Sena? These are nothing but lumpen louts who have been given the freedom to indulge in bad behavior. They must be locked up. Who are they to stop Ranbir Kapoor and Alia from going into Bharat?
Should the government have dealt with this strongly?
Of course, because the government, Navika, I'm amazed. The BJP is doing so much good work.
Suhail, sorry,
I'm
short on time. Chetan Kumar coming in.
Chetan. Sorry.
Yes, number one, let me explain the context. Number one, Karnataka, the state I'm from, has issued beef slaughter ban, and we oppose this because it's discrimination against Dalits, Muslims, Christians, and a lot of Bahujans. But we also, as animal rights activists, believe that there should be regulation on the exportation of beef and the massive corporatization of violence for profit-oriented, the dominant caste our companies are doing. There must be regulation. Now, in terms of the Ranbir Kapoor Alia Bhatt issue that is going on right now, Ranbir Kapoor has the right to eat beef, has the right to claim that he eats beef, and go to that temple. But just as that way, these people, the Bajrang Dal, who I disagree with on many issues, have the right to protest. There was a peaceful protest here. There was no throwing stones or destruction. They have a right to speak about what they want to do. That is a democratic right. And that is their democratic right. And also, the film, this boycott culture and this politicization of cinema. Can I speak? I didn't interrupt you.
It was surrounded by people.
They have a and there was, there was a lot of heckling. Of course, everybody has a right to protest, but let's not mix up the facts. In this case, there is a pregnant woman, as stated by Tehseen Poonawala, and there were heckling people around her. Now, just a little shove or a push could have meant something, and while people have the right to protest, they have no right to stop somebody from entering a temple. That's the way things are. But is this boycott culture really something that's come up every time there is a big film on the anvil, every Friday release? That's the question. Too much of coincidence and misplaced protests, or are sentiments being hurt? Where do we stand? Do write in to us. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the NewsHour tonight. Good night and be safe.
You were watching the NewsHour at 9. Stay tuned.
When journalism is led by integrity, and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth, and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate question and uncover the whole truth. Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school. I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9, only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please? क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं? I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start to the day. सिर्फ खबर दिखाना नहीं, असर होना भी जरूरी है. I am Richa Sharma. I am Amita Vadra. I am Pratibha. I am Swati Joshi, and you're watching the Morning NewsHour.
Viewers, I have a point of view, and I'm not afraid to look you in the eye when I express it. This is because I know that it's based on an honest, hard fact. A hard fact is uncompromised, just like me. On India Upfront, get the power of the hard facts. Remember, every good argument is based on hard facts. It's just as simple as that.
What is on my agenda? Information, not unnecessary aggression. Persistence, not pandering. I keep my ears to the ground, eyes on issues that truly matter. Because getting the whole picture is my focus, not hostility. People, not propaganda, is my priority. No bluff, no bluster, no bias. Because your agenda is my single point agenda. Watch NewsHour Agenda with me, Padmaja Joshi, weeknights at 10 p.m.
Whenever news breaks, you will see us. Process it, analyze it, and broadcast it. After the spot reporters, we are the first responders. We are at the front line
of every news event.
We are situation analysts, raw, live and unedited. Pure news, pure passion.
Times Now, action begins here.
Don't be scared, Rahul. Oh no, I am petrified, sir. मेरे खिलाफ तो आपने ऐसे केसेस ठोक रखे हैं सच बोलने के लिए. मैं तो डरता हूँ जो लोग बेचारे झूठ.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar called on President Draupadi Murmu for a courtesy visit in the national capital. Earlier today, Nitish Kumar also met NCP Chief Sharad Pawar. BJP's Janotsav has been once again postponed. The event to celebrate 1 year of Bommai government and 3 years of BJP rule in Karnataka has been rescheduled to September 11.
You were watching the NewsHour at 9. Stay tuned.
When journalism is led by integrity, and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth, and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate question and uncover the whole truth. Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school. I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9. Only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please? क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं? I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start to the day. सिर्फ खबर दिखाना नहीं, असर होना भी जरूरी है. I am Richa Sharma. I am Amita Vadra. I am Pratibha. I am Swati Joshi, and you're watching the Morning News Hour.
Viewers, I have a point of view, and I'm not afraid to look you in the eye when I express it. This is because I know that it's based on an honest, hard fact. A hard fact is uncompromised, just like me. On India Upfront, get the power of the hard facts. Remember, every good argument is based on hard facts. It's just as simple as that.
What is on my agenda? Information, not unnecessary aggression. Persistence, not pandering. I keep my ears to the ground, eyes on issues that truly matter. Because getting the whole picture is my focus, not hostility. People, not propaganda, is my priority. No bluff, no bluster, no bias. Because your agenda Good evening and welcome. You are watching the NewsHour agenda. I am Padmaja Joshi. Today the Congress launched the Bharat Jodo Yatra that will travel all the way from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. It will pass through 12 states and cover 3,570 kilometers over a span of 150 days. Its stated purpose is to heal India from the politics of hate and division. Today, as Rahul Gandhi kick-started the movement from Tamil Nadu, his target remained again the BJP, the RSS and the institutions he claims that they control in India.
Why is it that after so many years after independence, millions and millions of Indian people are feeling the need of a Bharat Jodo Yatra?
India is the institutions that protect this flag. India is a free media that protects this flag. India is a judiciary that protects this flag. And today, every single one of our institutions is under attack by the BJP and the RSS.
The idea is very similar to what the British used to do. Divide India, make Indians fight with each other, and then steal from the Indian people. Those days, it used to be called the East India Company. It was one big company that controlled the whole of India. Today, there are 3-4 big companies that control the whole of India.
But in this integration project, there was a spanner in the works when suddenly Robert Vadra decided to appear on posters for the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Now remember, this is a project that is held by Rahul Gandhi. Priyanka Gandhi also associated. There are all Karyakartas, there are workers of the Congress. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi gave her message. What was Rahul Gandhi doing on the posters? To top that, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot today also declared that it was but a matter of time that Rahul Gandhi would be back as the president of the Congress. It's just a natural progression. Mind you, this is being said. Rahul Gandhi is being declared as a natural president of the Congress at a time when the party has announced the formal holding of elections to the post of the Congress president in October. Naturally then, now there are questions about whether the Yatra was more of a launch or a relaunch vehicle for the first family than a vehicle for national integration.
न्याय करेंगे हमारे साथ में, जो निर्णय करेंगे उस वक्त में ये अपना परा नहीं देखते हैं, ये हकीकत है। गांधी परिवार की सबसे बड़ी खूबी मैं ये मानता हूँ, वो नहीं देखता है ये मेरा है या पराया है। आज भी राहुल गांधी के पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए हैं कांग्रेसियन? कि राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष बनेंगे तो पार्टी एकजुट रहेगी।
कांग्रेस तो अपने लोगों को जोड़ नहीं पा रही है, उनके अपने पुराने समर्पित छोड़कर जा रहे हैं और राहुल जी चले हैं देश जोड़ने। तो राहुल जी पहले अपना घर तो संभाल लेते। तो ये छलावा है, दिखावा है। इट इज हिपोक्रेसी ऑफ द वर्स्ट ऑर्डर।
अगर भारत जोड़ो यात्रा करना है तो राहुल गांधी को यह यात्रा पाकिस्तान में करना सही है। भारत में यात्रा करने से क्या फायदा होगा? भारत तो जुड़ा हुआ है, खंडित क्या हुआ? पाकिस्तान ही खंडित हुआ। तो इसीलिए मैं राहुल गांधी को सलाह देता हूं कि भारत जोड़ो कार्यक्रम आप पाकिस्तान में लेके जाइए।
हेमंता विश्व शर्मा आजकल जहर उगलने का काम कर रहे हैं। नए नए मुल्ला हैं, पहले कांग्रेस में थे, अब भाजपा में गए हैं, तो नया मुल्ला ज़्यादा प्याज खाता है। ये संघ के कार्यालय में गए होंगे और उन्होंने अखंड भारत का नक्शा देखा। ये पाकिस्तान, मतलब वो उसी लाइन से कह रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान जाए तो भारत जोड़ना है। और ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग कहते हैं कि सारे मुसलमान को पाकिस्तान दे दो और पाकिस्तान को अखंड भारत में मिला लो। तो फिर भेजने का क्या मतलब है?
It's an extremely ambitious project. Is it going to succeed in galvanizing the rank and file of the Congress, or is it ultimately going to be only about catapulting members of one family to positions of power?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
It's significant that the Bharat Jodo Yatra is being started from the state of Tamil Nadu, and joining us live right now is the state chief of the BJP, Mr. K. Annamalai. Thank you very much for speaking to us. What do you make of the decision of the Congress to actually start the Yatra from your state?
I don't see much with the way the Congress is starting the Yatra from Kanyakumari, madam, because the Yatra is happening in Tamil Nadu, that too a part of Tamil Nadu in Kanyakumari for today, tomorrow and day after. And then the Yatra enters Kerala, which means the Congress themselves, they agree they don't see any fortunes in the state of Tamil Nadu. And significantly, they have called the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, Mr. M.K. Stalin, to flag off the Yatra. As you can see in the function that is happening right now, you see more number of DMK cadres there as well. So it is more like a symbolic, because they wanted to start from south and go towards the northern part of India, towards Kashmir, except the symbolism. I don't think there is not anything of significance in the Yatra itself.
You have taken a pot shot saying that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is famous for his Bharat Chodo rather than Bharat Jodo. But isn't this an extremely ambitious exercise to mobilize this kind of party cadre over 150 days?
It's a very ambitious program, ma'am. Normally for every Yatra, there's nothing wrong in political parties doing Yatra. They do for various number of reasons. But the reason they have given to unite India, and there is no taker. Whichever state he goes, nobody would buy his theory that India needs to be united and Bharat Jodo would be the word. If he's keeping any other word like improving the Congress party, wants to meet the grassroots worker, that is their party decision. But keeping the logic of the Yatra is Bharat Jodo, I don't think anybody is going to buy in that logic, especially considering his great-grandfather was the Prime Minister of this country, then his grandmother was the Prime Minister, his father was the Prime Minister. At different points of time, we all have seen how India was. And after Modi ji has come to power in the last 8 years, be it the abolition of Article 370, the complete integration of North Indian states, the various things that I have put in my tweet as well. Modi ji is a big unifier. And all said and done, the biggest unifier of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, in the Congress regime, the Congress people have forgotten him also. There is not even an iota of a speech about what Vallabhbhai Patel has done for it. As we speak now, the unification day is happening in Hyderabad. A lot of other things are also happening. So I don't think people would buy into his theory that India needs to be united.
Because when you took that pot shot, a lot of Congress leaders are hitting back, calling it a symptom of your nervousness. That Rahul Gandhi is now leading this massive mobilization, and you are afraid it is going to spoil your chances in Tamil Nadu in particular and in the country in general.
No, normally people can shout from empty podium. That is how I see many of the Congress leaders reacting to our statement. They are just shouting from the empty podium. Nobody is sitting at the podium. So what we've spoken is a fact. How India is completely integrated in the last 8 years, it is irrefutable data we have given. abolition of Article 370, integration of northeastern states into the complete integration of so-called Bharat, where the geographical landmass. First time we are looking at what Bharat essentially means, and everybody believed they are an integral part of the Bharatiya vision. And also we mentioned about the unification doesn't mean the geographical boundary. Unification means also the gap between the haves and the have-nots has to be reduced, and everybody needs to be feel that they are an Indian citizen. How the gap is reduced, how the poor people, in terms of the metric, how they have become the middle class, the lower middle class. It is all irrefutable data in the last 8 years of Modi ji government. That is why we call this as New India. But the logic they talk about unification of India, that logic nobody would buy. If they are talking about any other name for the Yatra, as you have spoken, reviving the fortunes of Congress, the whole thing is to find the next leader for Congress. Maybe the top people of Congress have made their mind that Rahul Gandhi ji should be the next leader of Congress party. And the whole Yatra looks like a sham to make it happen.
So, you say that when it comes to real integration, you're talking about Article 370 in a sense that keeping all parts of the country together. The Congress says that they are calling this Bharat Jodo because right now the country stands torn asunder in its very character through hate, through religious polarization, through divides that is being created by your party. That is what they want to repair. That is why Bharat Jodo, to fix what you have broken.
The argument itself is meaningless because the character of this nation, the plurality of this nation is at an all-time high. The complete integration, the so-called artificial divide between North and South, the artificial divide that Congress was a master in doing it, all those artificial division is thing of a past now. Again, coming to the communal tension. And all those things, when we talk about in terms of metric, in terms of numbers, in terms of the FIR records or the NCRB data, India, so to speak now, when Congress was in power for 10 years, look at the communal violence instance that has happened, the bomb blast that has happened, the selective targeting of one religious community that has happened. So I don't know in what logic or in what number-based allegation they are making this point that India's character is torn. India's character right now is the Bharatiya character that is visible across everywhere, every single citizen. Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister talks this up as Ek Bharat and Shrestha Bharat. All-time high it is. So nobody would buy into their argument, ma'am. Maybe for the political sake or a political point of view, they can keep talking, keep harping on this. But there are no buyers for this here.
You don't think there is a communal divide in our country that needs to be fixed? Because especially in your state, it is spoken of again and again. That's why a lot of Congress leaders, even of the DMK, said that the kind of divisive politics that BJP stands for, that is why you get rejected in Tamil Nadu.
BJP is never into divisive politics. Maybe since you mentioned about Tamil Nadu politics, I can quote the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly Speaker, many Tamil Nadu ministers sitting in a stage and doing selective appeasement of one community here, talking about because of their vote, only DMK has come to power. That is religious polarization. That is hate politics, madam. None of the BJP leader in the past also, we never spoke about dividing people to get votes. That is not our character also. Maybe till now the Dravidian party, especially the DMK, might have won elections after elections by the rabble rousing. But now politics have changed. After Modi ji has come, it is developmental politics. We never do any caste or religious-based polarization. I can give you a number of examples in the last 15 months after DMK has come to power. How ministers after ministers addressing selective religious audience sitting in the podium talking about only because of their vote DMK has come to power. I don't want to take any religion name here, but it is simply calling the case of a kettle calling the pot black.
If for a second I can, ask you to set aside your role of BJP politician, purely as a political observer, what is the mood that you are picking up? Do you think there is a re-energizing of Congress cadre ever since this announcement was made that he is going to be in Kanyakumari, that he is going to be launching the Yatra from there? Is everyone geared up in the Congress in Tamil Nadu?
I'll take your question, ma'am. I'm talking as a citizen of the state and maybe not as a political leader now. The Congress party has lost its chance a long time back for various number of political reasons. They have ceded Kachativu Island in 1972 and even in the Sri Lankan war in the 2008-9, what we called as the butchering of Tamil people in the northeastern region, where the Congress party had a direct hand there. So all those things have made Congress party in Tamil Nadu as a thing of the past. There is no way they can get back. And second, when you see the Tamil Nadu Congress leaders themselves, They call the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister as a great leader. In fact, one Tamil Nadu Congress leader, a senior leader, 3 months back, he wanted Stalin to be the next Prime Minister of the country. This is the state of Congress party in Tamil Nadu. So they have completely lost direction. It is more like a B team of the DMK, and the Congress have lost its essential character. I agree with you, at one point of time, Congress was a great party and Kamarajar was there. The great Kamarajar, whom we call as Karmavira. Now even the Kamarajar's memory is forgotten. The current Congress is not the Kamarajarji's Congress, it is the Indira Congress. When Congress got split, the Kamarajar's Congress was completely sidetracked, and this is the Indira Congress that is what there in Tamil Nadu now. So I don't think whatever Padayatra Rahul Gandhi does, that is why in a tacit approval, he is doing Padayatra in only one district, that too in one particular direction towards Kerala, that too for 3 days. This Padayatra doesn't cover Tamil Nadu itself, because the Congress party themselves, they admit they don't see a future for them in Tamil Nadu.
You spoke of the journey of the Congress from the Kamaraj Congress to the Indira Congress. Do you think next it will be Rahul Congress and maybe eventually Vadra Congress?
Well, that is why I call that as a fourth generation dynasty. I personally don't have anything against Rahul Gandhi or anything against anybody. Everybody is a leader who wants to do something for the country. I don't have anything, but the words they choose, for Yatra they want to say unifying the country, as if BJP is trying to divide it. That is where I have a problem now. If they want to grow the party, all the best wishes for them to do all the hard work, let them grow the party. That is no objection for that. So whichever way direction they want to take, let them take it. But I see it is only going to be Rahul's Congress from now on because of the cheerleaders. It's a namesake election. Every single big leader in Tamil Nadu is the stage today in the evening talking about Rahul Gandhi should be the next big thing here and there. How can you think that the election will be conducting free and fair whenever the electoral list is published and other people would also contest for the top post?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Annamalai.
Thank you.
Good luck to you and good luck to Rahul Gandhi also for the Yatra. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good luck indeed, but which direction is it going to go? Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us now. Shubhransh Rai, political analyst. My first question is to Kapil Madan, political analyst, and give them some time because Mr. Annamalai had a good 10 minutes from your party, Sanju Verma. So, Kapil Madan, respond to what Mr. Annamalai just said. It used to be a great party when it was the Kamraj Congress. Then it became the Indira Congress. Now it's just the Rahul Congress. Soon it may just be the Vadra Congress.
Now, Padmaja ji, one thing is very, very clear, that they don't have anything to say on the Yatra per se. So meaning thereby they somehow admit that, the BJP is indulging in the, hate politics. And if you look at the data, this data is on record that in the past 8 years, the hate crimes, the number of hate speeches have risen many-fold. Now, if the Congress party has taken upon itself to start a yatra, to send a message across the country that India is one, every community is one in the constitution, every citizen is one, then the only thing the BJP can resort to is the ad hominem argument, because they don't have anything to say on merit insofar as the intent.
Here you had the gentleman saying that it is reduced to one person, one family's party, and he was literally borne out by two instances in your yatra where Mr. Vadra for no good reason appeared on the posters. And then you had Mr. Gehlot saying, yes, Mr. Gandhi will be the president soon. Then why are you having this whole election in October? If Mr. Gandhi has to be the president, then just make him the president already.
Now let me respond. Now you have made two important points here. One important point you have raised about the pictures there. There could be pictures of anyone. We have our Prime Minister who will ensure.
No, there won't be pictures of anyone.
Let me respond.
Is your picture there on Bharat Jodo Yatra poster?
Now let me respond.
You are far more visible and far more vocal than Mr. Vadra.
Padmaja ji.
Supporting the cause. Your picture is not there, na? Mr. Vadra's picture is there.
Padmaja ji, but let me respond. Let me respond to that. Insofar as the issue of picturing is concerned, we have our Prime Minister and we have a government here wherein even if ex-minister goes for an inauguration, you will not have picture of ex-minister, you will have picture of Mr. Narendra Modi on that. So you please don't say that it is a one party or
Okay,
if
so let's take this one by one on the issue of this is not about Mr. Vadra trying to elbow in. This is not about the family party or Vadra Congress. It was about being inclusive. The idea was everyone should be there, Sanju Verma. You should write a letter, maybe they'll put your picture there.
Padmaja, please. You know, Kapil Madan is a fairly intelligent guy. I mean, I'm appalled at this absolutely lame argument, bordering on, insanity, saying that Robert Vadra's posters in Tamil Nadu speak of inclusivity. Are you kidding me? I'll just tell you one thing, which we have repeated ad nauseum and me on your debate zillion times. The fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, the Congress party is not learning from its mistakes, point number one. Point number two, the Congress today is not a political organization. It is reduced to being a private limited company with 4 key players. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra and Robert Vadra. Point number three, forget about Sonia, Rahul, Priyanka. Tell me what is the one single contribution of Robert Vadra for him to feature on the political poster of a political party, because when there are allegations against him in land deals, I clearly remember Congress saying he's just a private citizen. When we bring up the Sanjay Bhandari issue, he's just a private citizen. When we talk about his involvement in the Augusta Westland Commission deal, he's just a private citizen. Today, how is it that this private citizen called Robert Vadra has his mud plastered all over posters in Tamil Nadu?
Maybe because the private citizens believe against politics of hate. Maybe his ideology of love has found him a place on that poster.
Sorry, Padmaja, I was, by mistake, I addressed you as Rahul. My apologies for that. Padmaja, I just want to say one thing. I was listening in, see, Kapil Madan also sounded funny. I mean, Padmaja is so much more intelligent, and I'm surprised she didn't take offense to that. Rahul Gandhi has been making statements saying, love conquers hate. Gee, we agree with you. Fear conquers hope. Absolutely, we agree with you. But when I baat bataiye, Rahul Gandhi ji, I will not address you as Pappu. Rahul Gandhi ji, who is spreading hate? Who is spreading fear?
Now let me respond.
Questioning every bona fide decision of the Modi government.
Can I respond to Padmaja? I think she's made a personal remark.
Personal remark, expunge, please. That's not okay.
I think she made a personal
before it goes downhill, no name calling. No name calling. Let's stick to the point. Shubhransh Rai, just a second. Let me bring in Shubhransh Rai. You've made your first point. Let me bring in Shubhransh Rai. Why fix what is not broken? कांग्रेस के जमाने में 100 से ज्यादा दंगे हुए थे, हजारों वहां पर ऐसी झड़पें हुई हैं, दलितों के ऊपर अत्याचार हुआ है, हम फिर से वो गिनाना शुरू कर देंगे। एक स्टेट में कितने राइट्स हुए हैं, बरेली में शायद हर साल ही एक दंगा होता था जब भी कोई जुलूस निकलता था। दैट बीइंग सेड, ये पूरा एक पिक्चर पेंट किया जा रहा है शुभ्रांश राय, जस्ट इन ऑर्डर कि एक कॉज मिल जाए जिससे दोबारा आप उनको रीलॉन्च कर सकें। शुभ्रांश राय।
पद्मजा, मुझे लगा कि आपकी डिबेट भारत जोड़ो यात्रा पे होगी, बट आपकी डिबेट तो शायद किसी पोस्टर के इर्द गिर्द घूम रही है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी और उसकी मशीनरी गोदी मीडिया को मैं याद दिला देता हूं कि द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी हमारी राष्ट्रपति हैं। उनके निर्वाचन से पहले हर जगह नरेंद्र मोदी का पोस्टर।
शुभ्रांश जी, एक सेकंड, ओके। I make it very clear. No, hold on a second.
No.
Have a civilized debate. Don't come here and say things like Modi media, this, that, and the other.
No.
The problem is, sir, you are given a platform. You are given space to say what you want.
You are that.
And then you sit and misuse that space to abuse people. And then you say कि हमारी कोई सुनता नहीं है। आपके पास सलीका नहीं है बात करने का, सर। आपको जो प्लेटफॉर्म मिल रहा है ना, डोंट मिसयूज इट। आप किसी को मत बताइए कि कौन गोदी है और कौन तोड़ी है। मैं बोलना शुरू करूंगी ना कि जो आपके सो कॉल्ड फेवरेट लोग हैं, जो निष्पक्ष आप जिनको बताते हैं, तो बात बहुत दूर तक जाएगी। So kindly use the platform you are being given, behave yourself and speak your mind, okay? But be civilized. I am treating you with respect, sir. Return the respect. Do not use this platform to misbehave. And I make this very clear. All right? Go on, Mr. Rai.
What? Listen.
I am not here for you to certify people, okay?
आप मुझे अगर
आप अपना प्लेटफॉर्म यूज कीजिए और जो लोग बोलते हैं ना यहाँ पे, एक सेकंड, मेरे को मेरा नाम पता है, बार बार मत लीजिए।
Here to take your ज्ञान।
I am not here to take your certificate. I am not here to take your ज्ञान। और कौन किसकी गोदी है और कौन किसका टूडी है? Please make your point and move on. Go on.
अगर आप सच बोलने की हिम्मत नहीं रखते हो,
किसमें कितनी हिम्मत है सर? I am not here to have a private slanging match with you, okay? अपना पॉइंट रखिए, आपको प्लेटफॉर्म दिया गया है भारत जोड़ो यात्रा के लिए।
आपने बात करी, आपने नरेंद्र मोदी के पोस्टर की बात करी।
अरे आपको प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है ना पोस्टर बोलने के लिए, आप बोलिए।
सो यू आर बायस्ड,
आप बोलिए। आपको प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है। यहाँ एक संजू वर्मा है, कांग्रेस के पक्ष के लिए 2 लोग हैं, वो नहीं दिखेगा आपको। दुनिया जहान के आप क्रिब करेंगे, विक्टिम कॉम्प्लेक्स है आपको, ये नहीं दिखेगा कि 1 बीजेपी पर्सन इज सिटिंग अगेंस्ट 2 कांग्रेस पीपल, बट यू विल सिट हियर, क्रिब, क्राई, प्ले विक्टिम, प्लेयर विक्टिम कार्ड, वो गोदी है, वो बायस्ड है, वो एजेंडा है, हमारी कोई सुनता नहीं, हाय हाय बोलिए ना।
आज 1 मिनट, आज डिबेट का 1 मिनट,
काम की बात करेंगे नहीं, या तो मीडिया का विश्लेषण करने आ जाएंगे,
या फिर ये नहीं, आप नहीं करोगे मैडम। जो आप काम करोगे आपको आईना तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना।
अरे आप अपने को आईना देखिए ना, जो आप यात्रा कर रहे हैं उसको आईना दिखाइए। हमारे पास हजारों आईने हैं सर।
फॉर 2002 गुजरात, हैड यू टॉक फॉर, एक मिनट, पद्मजा जोशी, हैड यू टॉक फॉर 2002 गुजरात? नो, आपने बात करी नहीं करी? आपको वाटला
you should watch the channel when you are not cribbing and playing victim, you would know if you watch। पर आप इतने ज्यादा सेल्फ पिटी से ग्रसित है ना कि आपको दिखाई नहीं देता कि बाहर क्या हो रहा है। सर आईने की बात कर रहे हैं ना, आई हेट टू से दिस, आईने की बात कर रहे हैं ना,
आपको नहीं दिखाई।
पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के लिए बेस्ट आईना इलेक्शन होता है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के लिए बेस्ट आईना वोटर दिखाता है। आपको वो आईना दिख नहीं रहा, दुनिया को आप ज्ञान देते हैं। चलिए बोलिए।
आपको
डिस्पाइट दैट आई एम गिविंग यू अ प्लेटफॉर्म एंड एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू फाइनली स्पीक अबाउट द यात्रा। अरे यात्रा पे बात कीजिए ना शुभ्रान जी, आखिरी बार कोशिश कर रही हूं, बोलिए।
आपको पहले मैं उसी पे बात कर रहा हूं कि ये यात्रा जो है ये महंगाई के खिलाफ है। 2014 से पहले 200 रुपए से ऊपर का रिफाइन नहीं बिकता था। 2014 से पहले 100 रुपए लीटर का ऊपर का सरसों तेल नहीं बिकता था। 2014 से पहले 40 रुपए लीटर का आटा नहीं बिकता था। 40 रुपए लीटर का आटा, रिमेंबर। 2014 से पहले 100 रुपए लीटर का पेट्रोल नहीं बिकता था। 2014 से पहले 90 रुपए लीटर का डीजल नहीं बिकता था। 2014 से पहले 1050 रुपए का सिलेंडर नहीं बिकता था। यह आज बिकता है नरेंद्र मोदी के राजकाज में। 2014 से पहले 75 साल की स्वर्णिम जयंती के ऊपर 25% लोग गरीबी रेखा के नीचे नहीं गए थे। 75 साल की सबसे बड़ी बेरोजगारी आज है, 2014 से पहले नहीं थी। 2014 से पहले इस देश के संसाधन पे छोटे बड़े सबका अधिकार था। 2014 से पहले कोई किसी के कपड़ों को देखकर, किसी की जाति को देखकर उसके ऊपर कमेंट नहीं करता था। वो आज हो रहा है नरेंद्र मोदी के राजकाज में। और सॉरी टू से, मैं नरेंद्र मोदी जी को अपना प्रधानमंत्री कहता हूं, मैं उनको फेंकू नहीं कहता, क्योंकि ये मेरा सम्मान नहीं है। हो सकता है ये संजू वर्मा का हो, मेरे लिए वो मेरे देश के प्रधानमंत्री है और मेरा अभिमान है। उनकी गलत नीतियां हो सकती है, गलत नीतियों को आगाह कराना मेरा काम है। वो 2 करोड़ हर साल नौकरी देने का वादा आए थे जी, 8 सालों में 16 करोड़ नौकरी देने की बजाय सिर्फ 7.5 लाख दे पाए। ये मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं, ये नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार का डेटा कह रहा है। सवाल पूछना
संजू वर्मा, दीज आर वेरी रियल इश्यूज एंड रिमेंबर इन द पास्ट कई यात्रा हुई है जिनसे सरकारें बदल गई हैं। एनटी रामाराव ने यात्रा की, जगन मोहन रेड्डी ने यात्रा की, गांधी जी ने दांडी यात्रा की। अभी आप सत्ता में बैठे हैं, बट थिंग्स कैन चेंज। मास मोबिलाइजेशन की कोशिश है और इश्यूज रियल है। एंड बिफोर संजू वर्मा रिस्पॉन्ड्स, आई एम वेरी ग्लैड आपने सम्मान की बात की सर, पर यह भी याद रखिएगा 2019 का आपका नारा था चौकीदार चोर है। कोई बात नहीं, अब सम्मान की बात कर रहे हैं, ये अच्छी बात है, सबको सम्मान दिया जाना चाहिए। असली मुद्दे, बड़ी रैली, मास मोबिलाइजेशन। संजू वर्मा,
थैंक यू। अभी सुभ्रांश जी को मैंने एक बार भी नहीं टोका। पद्मजा जी, आई होप ही विल एक्सटेंड दी कर्सी टू मी। मुझे अपनी बात कहने का मौका दीजिए। आपने कहा 2014 से पहले ऐसे नहीं था, वैसे नहीं था, डीजल इतने रुपए लीटर नहीं था, आटा इतने रुपए केजी नहीं था। सुभ्रांश जी, पद्मजा जी के ऑडियंस के बेनिफिट के लिए मैं कुछ आंकड़े रखना चाहती हूँ। मैं 30 सेकंड लूंगी। आफ्टर 2014 के बाद 9 करोड़ महिलाओं को उज्ज्वला योजना के तहत मुफ्त गैस सिलेंडर मिला। 2014 के बाद हर हफ्ते एक नई यूनिवर्सिटी और हर दिन 2 नए कॉलेज खोले गए। 2014 के बाद हर साल एक आईआईटी, एक आईआईएम और एक एम्स खोला गया। 2014 के बाद
मैडम कितना झूठ बोलती हो नेशनल टीवी पे। एक बात बताओ, एक बात हर महीने एक यूनिवर्सिटी खोला गया। नाम बताइए मुझे, 1 सेकेंड। 12/8/96 100 यूनिवर्सिटी का आप मुझे नाम बता के दिखाइए। झूठ मत बोलिए चैनल पे। 100 यूनिवर्सिटी का नाम बताइए। संजू वर्मा, पद्मजा जी मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है, संजू वर्मा को बोलिए यूनिवर्सिटी का नाम बताइए जो कहाँ खोला गया है। कांग्रेस झूठ क्यों बोल रही है? सैनिटेशन रेट मत बोलिए संजू वर्मा, झूठ बोल।
One at a time, please.
What is it, Padmaja?
One at a time. संजू वर्मा फिनिश योर पॉइंट, फिर अपना सवाल पूछेगा। गो ऑन संजू वर्मा।
After 2014, 23 crore soil cards. After 2014, 9 crore free gas cylinders under Ujjwala Yojana. After 2014, 72 lakh LED bulbs.
That is fine, Sanju Verma. Hold on a second. That is fine. But let me remind you कि अभी आप जो उज्ज्वला योजना में चूल्हा दे रहे हैं, उसके लिए सिलेंडर खरीदने में लोगों को तकलीफ हो रही है क्योंकि सिलेंडर के दाम बढ़ गए हैं। हाँ, अब आपने सब्सिडी दी है, बट माय पॉइंट इज while today you are scoffing at this yatra, if a yatra manages to harness public anger, बदलाव कब होगा, पब्लिक का मूड कब बदल जाएगा, शायद आपको पता नहीं चलेगा।
मुझे बोलने दीजिए।
और ये 150 दिन चलेगा।
आपने बहुत कुछ कहा। Now you made some very pertinent points, पद्मजा। शुभ्रांशी ने बहुत सारे आरोप लगाए। मैं एक चीज कहना चाहती हूँ, आपके राहुल गांधी बार बार लव, प्यार, मोहब्बत की बातें करते हैं। ये वही राहुल गांधी है जिन्होंने आज तक एंटी सीख 1984 के जेनोसाइड के लिए माफी तक नहीं मांगी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने एसआईटी का गठन किया जिसके तहत सज्जन कुमार को जेल की सलाखों के पीछे भेजा गया। आपने आज तक सिखों।
Okay, now we are changing goalposts. We were basically talking about more bread and butter issues which affect the lives of people, and which if the Congress manages to tap into and amplify, could it change its fortunes? I am unfortunately out of time right now, but despite the apprehensions and the very serious charges of Shubhransh Rai, I assure you over the next few days as well, as the yatra progresses, maybe it's a good thing that it will allow everyone, it will prod everyone to have these conversations. Let's do it. For the time being, thank you very much, both gentlemen. Sanju Verma for joining me. The yatra has just started. We'll be keeping a close watch. It's a comment that was made 11 years ago and it has returned to haunt actor Ranbir Kapoor, and the timing could not have been worse ahead of the release of his film Brahmastra, made on a humongous budget of 410 crores. The Bollywood star along with co-star and wife Alia Bhatt and director Ayan Mukherjee were headed to Mahakaleshwar temple in Ujjain to seek Shivji's blessings, but the couple were forced to return in the face of vociferous protests outside the temple. And why did they face these protests? That is because of the 2011 court where Ranbir Kapoor had apparently said that he consumes beef, that he likes consuming beef and mutton because of his Peshawari heritage. This, by the way, had happened during the promotions of the film Rockstar. Now, there were some groups like the Bajrang Dal who came on the streets. There was a backlash. It has divided opinions on the matter though. While there were protests by the Bajrang Dal, the government of Madhya Pradesh said that there was no stopping the actor couple from actually performing any rituals inside the temple. It's just that stars should be careful of what they say.
दर्शन के लिए कोई रोक नहीं थी, उनके साथ के लोग सभी, आयान मुखर्जी से लेके बाकी लोग सबने दर्शन किए। वहाँ पूरी व्यवस्था थी, व्यवस्था की गई थी। इनसे भी आग्रह किया गया था कि ये चले। मेरी वहां के प्रशासन से बात हुई और जैसा मुझे प्रशासन ने बताया कि बोले हमने आग्रह किया, वो नहीं गए प्रदर्शन को दृष्टिगत रखते हुए। और ऐसा शाब्दिक शब्द का प्रयोग भी जो कलाकार हैं उन्हें नहीं करना चाहिए जिससे लोगों की भावना आहत हो।
You're watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
All right, we have Suraj Palamu, National President of the Karni Sena, Vinod Bansal, National Spokesperson, VHP, Kunika Lal, actor and advocate, and Ravi Rai, film and television writer, will be joining us in just a bit. Suraj Palamu ji, आपको काफी सारी फिल्मों से काफी नाराजगी रही है, but how can an old comment make somebody face protest in 2022? कि थोड़ा पब्लिसिटी हंटिंग टाइप का टैक्टिक नहीं है?
मेरा पदमजा जी ये कहना है, नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है पब्लिसिटी वो लोग चाहते हैं जो अपनी फिल्में बनाते हैं, जो 410 करोड़ रुपए के बजट की आप बात कर रही थी, ये इतने हैवी बजट की फिल्में बनाकर ये ड्रामेबाजी क्रिएट करते हैं। इनको मालूम था कि अगर ये महाकाल के दर्शन करने जाएंगे रणबीर कपूर आलिया भट्ट, तो वहाँ पर निश्चित तौर पे वहाँ के लोग प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे। क्यों? क्योंकि महादेव का, महाकाल का और नंदी का एक बहुत प्यारा रिश्ता है, और वहाँ पर वो लोग जाए जो बीफ खाने की बात करते हैं, तो उसका विरोध करना, अब उसके लिए कौन जिम्मेवार है, कौन किसने क्या किया? प्रदेश के गृह मंत्री ने, मध्य प्रदेश के गृह मंत्री ने उनको सुविधाएं दी, प्रशासन ने उनको कहा, परंतु वो नहीं जाना चाहते, नहीं उतर गए। इसके पीछे भी एक रीजन है पदमजा।
Okay, so Kunika,
फिल्म की पब्लिसिटी हो, नाटकबाजी हो।
Okay, so Kunika Lal, the argument is just like they have the right to go to the temple and say that you consume beef or you like beef, people who may be hurt by this have the right to protest.
Okay, this is going to be fun. So thank you for calling me on your show. I want to ask you that वहाँ के गृह मंत्री ने कहा कि वो जा सकते थे, हमने उनको आग्रह किया। आप एक तरफ से आग्रह करेंगे और आप एक तरफ से माहौल बिगाड़ के रखेंगे, तो कौन जाएगा? आप ये सोचिए पद्मजा जी कि इससे क्या मैसेज जाता है कि अगर दो सेलिब्रिटीज मंदिर जाना चाहते हैं, जहां की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को तो आपने धज्जियां उड़ा दी, क्योंकि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का आपने परवाह नहीं किया कि दे हैव द राइट टू प्रे, दे हैव द राइट टू द रिलीजन, राइट टू फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच, एक्सप्रेशन, राइट टू लाइफ एंड लाइवलीहुड. You don't worry about that, but you have created a mahal. Protesting is only allowed in designated places. अगर इनको प्रोटेस्ट की परमिशन दी गई थी, तो ये मंदिर के बाहर क्यों दी गई थी, ये भी पूछना पड़ेगा प्रशासन से, और अगर नहीं दी गई थी तो फिर ये गुंडागर्दी है. और आपके शो पे जो बैठे हैं महानुभाव, वो जो आई थिंक बंसल जी हैं सबरी, उनको बड़ा ऑब्जेक्शन था कि मैंने उनको गुंडा कहा. वो गुंडे ही हैं जो बिना परमिशन के लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के को हाथ में रख लेते हुए एंटी सोशल काम करते हैं. ये एंटी सोशल काम,
ऑब्जेक्शन है
रॉन्ग.
सूरज पालमू,
इस भाषा पर मुझे आपत्ति है पदमजा.
गुंडागर्दी है
इस भाषा,
एंटी सोशल. इंग्लिश में एंटी सोशल कहते हैं, हिंदी में इसको गून्स कहते हैं. इनको गून एलिमेंट.
इंटरनेशनल लेवल के चैनल पर इस प्रकार की भाषा का प्रयोग करना,
पद्मजा जी इनको ट्रांसलेट करके बता दीजिए. जो चीज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के खिलाफ होता है, जो बिना परमिशन का होता है, जो एंटी सोशल होता है, उसको
मेरे देश में मुझे प्रोटेस्ट करने का अधिकार है.
कहीं पे नहीं कर सकते आप.
मेरे देश
अगर आपने प्रोटेस्ट किया, आपने परमिशन लिया,
अगर मेरे देश
परमिशन नहीं लिया,
कहता हूँ गाय माता के
गैर कानूनी
खाने की कोई बात करेगा तो उसका मैं विरोध करूंगा.
11 साल पहले
आप बॉलीवुड कुछ भी करेगा, हम चुप रहे, हम गुंडे हैं, हम सब कुछ करेंगे. आप गंदी फिल्में बनाएंगे.
रणबीर कपूर को 11 साल पहले नहीं पता था
आप ब्रह्मास्त्र को हिट कराना चाहती हैं,
जो शिवा के ऊपर होगा.
मैं
सूरज पालामू जी, I think this argument is redundant. I'll tell you why. क्योंकि आप कह रहे हैं कि गुंडा बोलने में आपको आपत्ति है. ये बात आप मध्य प्रदेश सरकार, मध्य प्रदेश पुलिस को बताइए, क्योंकि उन्होंने गुंडागर्दी के सेक्शंस में ही इन लोगों को बुक किया है. पहले इनको कल लाठीचार्ज किया गया और फिर अब उनको इन्हीं सेक्शंस में बुक किया गया है अंडर द लॉ, जो कि एक्चुअली होना चाहिए. अगर आपको रणबीर कपूर से प्रॉब्लम है, उनके बोलने से प्रॉब्लम है, आप भी जाके उनको बुक कर सकते थे. कहते कि भाई रणबीर कपूर ये बोल रहे हैं बीफ के बारे में, मैं उनके खिलाफ केस करना चाहता हूं. दैट बीइंग सेड, ये केस को बाहर फेंक दिया जाता बिकॉज इट इज नॉट इलीगल. यू कुड नॉट हैव प्रूवन दैट सेइंग समथिंग लाइक दिस इज इलीगल.
अगर मेरे पदमजा जी,
हाँ जी बोलिए,
अगर कोई मेरे धर्म के बारे में, मेरी संस्कृति के बारे में, मेरी गाय माता के बारे में इस प्रकार की भाषा का प्रयोग करेगा, चाहे 11 साल. हाँ, वो सॉरी बोल दे, वो सॉरी बोल दे। टाइम्स नाउ पर आकर सॉरी बोल दे।
उन्होंने आपके धर्म के बारे में तो कुछ बोला नहीं, वो उनका भी धर्म है ना, और उन्होंने अपने धर्म के हिसाब से
बीफ खाने वाला व्यक्ति महाकाल, बीफ खाने वाला व्यक्ति महाकाल के दर्शन नहीं करेगा। बीफ खाने वाला व्यक्ति, बीफ खाने वाला व्यक्ति महाकाल के दर्शन नहीं करेगा। ये हम लोगों का प्रोटेस्ट हम करेंगे।
ये कहां पे लिखा है विनोद बंसल जी, ये कहीं पे लिखा है क्या महाकाल में? क्योंकि जहां तक मुझे याद है ज्यादातर टेम्पल्स में कुछ स्पेसिफाइड होता है कि आप सर ढक के आइए, या आप एक जोड़ी कपड़ा पहन करके आइए, या फिर आप साड़ी में आइए, या फिर आप चप्पल मत पहन के आइए। ये कहां लिखा हुआ है कि अगर आपने 11 साल पहले कभी बीफ खाया है आप महाकाल के दर्शन नहीं कर सकते?
नहीं तो दर्शन करने के लिए मंदिर ने रोका कहां है? मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, देखिए जैसे आपके चैनल पर किसी को भी कुछ भी गुंडा कह देना और चैनल द्वारा नहीं रोका जाना, ये आपका राइट हो सकता है और वो उनकी संस्कृति हो सकती है जो किसको गुंडा कह रहे हैं। देखिए बीच में बोलना ठीक नहीं है पद्मजा जी, बीच में बोलना ठीक नहीं है। मैं बीच में नहीं बोला था।
ठीक है।
कौन कहा जी हिंदू को बोलने का वो परमिशन है क्या?
बोलिए बोलिए विनोद बंसल जी बोलिए।
मैं बोल सकता हूँ क्या?
हिंदू।
देखिए मेरी माताएं बहनें जो है ना, अगर ऐसे शब्दों का प्रयोग करेगी तो मुझे लगता है ये अपनी संस्कृति के दर्शन करा रही है। मुझे कुछ कहने की आवश्यकता नहीं, मुझे कोई आपत्ति नहीं है इस बारे में। देखिए ये जो जिसकी रही भावना जैसी प्रभु मूर्त देखी तन तैसी, और ये बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रही है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की बात कर रही है, राइट टू दिस, राइट टू दिस, राइट टू दिस। और अभी एवरी राइट इज हैविंग विद यू ओनली ना, हमें तो कोई राइट है नहीं। हिंदू समाज की तो भावनाओं को तो एक गाजर मूली की तरह कैसी मरोड़ लो, तोड़ लो, खा जाओ।
फिर कोर्ट जाइए ना,
आपको तो अपनी ओछी राजनीति या ओछी पब्लिसिटी के लिए, ओछी पब्लिसिटी के लिए मुझे क्या करना चाहिए मुझे पता है ना। आपको मुझे दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं। मेरी बहन कोनिका जी कृपया शांति से सुन लें। और नहीं आपने बोलना है तो कोई बात नहीं, पद्मजा जी नीचे बोलवाइए जरा।
नहीं विनोद बंसल जी, अगेन आपको कोई तकलीफ है इसमें? देयर आर मेनी प्रॉब्लम्स। पहली बात, आप हर्ट किस चीज से हुए हैं कि 11 साल पहले किसी ने बोला कि मैं अपनी मर्जी से विदाउट ब्रेकिंग एनी रूल, विदाउट डूइंग एनी इलीगैलिटी, आई हैड सम आइटम ऑफ फूड। दूसरा, आप कह रहे हैं कि ये फिल्म पब्लिसिटी के लिए कर रहे हैं। 11 साल पहले उन्होंने तो नहीं सोचा होगा कि 2022 में ब्रह्मास्त्र आएगी और तब कोई उनके पुराना वीडियो निकाल करके उसको सर्कुलेट करेगा। और फिल्म रिलीज होने से पहले तो हर कोई जाता है ना। आप घर नया बनाते हैं, घर प्रवेश से पहले आप मंदिर जाते हैं, नई गाड़ी खरीदते हैं उसके पहले मंदिर जाते हैं। फिल्म रिलीज के पहले वो गए अपना मंदिर में दर्शन करने के लिए। उसमें पब्लिसिटी से हम कैसे उसको जोड़ के देख सकते हैं? वीडियो उन्होंने तो सर्कुलेट नहीं किया ना, वीडियो तो प्रोटेस्ट करने वालों ने सर्कुलेट किया। विनोद बंसल जी,
उल्टा इनको पब्लिसिटी चाहिए भाई। बीच बीच में बरसाती मेंढक की तरह उठ के आते हैं कि हमको देखो हम भी हैं।
विनोद बंसल
मुझे बताइए, मैंने पब्लिसिटी का नाम लिया क्या? आप जो मेरे को कह रहे पूछ रहे हो?
नहीं, वो हैं बैठे हुए चैनल पे पब्लिसिटी वाले। पहले
बोलने की परमिशन नहीं है तो पद्मजा जी मेरे मत बुलाइए।
बोलिए विनोद बंसल।
अगर है तो बोलने दीजिए।
इसमें हर्टफुल क्या है?
देखिए ये इनकी संस्कृति दिख रही है, ये इनकी संस्कृति दिखा रही है किस तरह से। मैं देखिए हर्टफुल ये है ना कि आपके चैनल पर आकर के, टाइम्स नाउ पर आकर के हिंदू समाज को अपना पक्ष रखने की भी आजादी नहीं है, बताओ। और ये जो तथाकथित एक्टर, प्रोड्यूसर और फाइनेंसर और फिल्म इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए लोग अपने आप को हीरो समझते हैं। आप मुझे बताइए कि रणबीर कपूर हो या आलिया भट्ट हो, उसको हीरो बनाने का, हीरोइन बनाने का काम किसने किया? समाज ने किया ना जी। अगर समाज की भावनाओं को आप हर्ट करोगे तो समाज को भी रेस्पॉन्ड करने का अधिकार है। ठीक है, जैसे आपको खाने पीने का अधिकार है, आपको बोलने का अधिकार है, कोनिका जी को गुंडा कहने का अधिकार है किसी भी सभ्य व्यक्ति को और राष्ट्रवादी संस्था को, तो मैं कहता हूं मुझे भी प्रोटेस्ट करने का अधिकार है। अब मेरे प्रोटेस्ट के अधिकार को क्यों रोक सकता भाई? लेकिन लॉजिकली अगर बात करें तो बात यह है, देखिए बात यह नहीं है कि 11 साल पहले था कि 21 साल पहले था कि 1000 साल पहले था। प्रश्न यह है जो गलत है वो गलत है। और हिंदू समाज सहिष्णु तो है लेकिन भीरू नहीं है। और दूसरी बात यह है कि वो कब रेस्पॉन्ड करेगा इसके बारे में आप कल्पना नहीं कर सकते। कोनिका जी आज टाइम्स नाउ पर जो कुछ बोल रही है, ये कब सॉरी फील करना पड़ेगा इनको नहीं पता, क्योंकि हिंदू समाज सब
मुझे नहीं सॉरी बोलना पड़ेगा। नहीं,
लेकिन मैं सॉरी नहीं बोलना। कोनिका जी देखिए, मैं बीच में नहीं बोलना चाहता और मैं नहीं चाहता कि आप बीच में बोलें।
ओके, जो आपको हीरो बनाता है उनकी फीलिंग्स का यू विल हैव टू कीप बी सेंसिटिव। रवि राय, respond as a producer and director. If this janta makes you famous, you should respect them.
No, I totally now
let us not talk as celebrities और film stars और फलाना, और ये मैं बोल चुका हूँ पहले भी कि ये बहुत ही बेसलेस है कि हम बनाते हैं उनको, तो हम तो नेता भी बनाते हैं, है ना? हम तो बहुत सारे नेता भी बनाते हैं। नेता किससे चुन के आते हैं? नेता भी हम ही से चुन के आते हैं। फ्रिंज एलिमेंट्स को कौन बनाता है? I would, Padmaja, finish this debate in just one line. I want to ask विनोद बंसल जी कि विनोद बंसल जी आप मुझे सिर्फ एक, मैं बिल्कुल सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा हूं आपको, रणबीर को जो सजा देनी है आप दीजिए ना सर। अगर उसने गलत बोला उसको पूरी उम्र मंदिर मत जाने दीजिए सर, लेकिन एक बात का जवाब दे दीजिए सर। विनोद जी मेरी एक बात सुनिए। अरे सर बोलने दीजिए, अरे सर बोलने दीजिए ना सर। एक पद्मजा, जस्ट वन थिंग, रणबीर ने 11 साल पहले क्या कहा था? क्या उसने ये कहा था मुझे गाय अच्छी लगती है या मुझे बीफ अच्छा लगता है? और उसने सिर्फ ये कहा था बीफ अच्छा लगता है, या उसने कहा था मुझे फिश अच्छी लगती है, चिकन अच्छा लगता है, बीफ अच्छा लगता है? बीफ में से हमने गाय बाहर निकाल दी क्योंकि हमें गाय दिख रही थी। 18 किस्म की बफेलोज, वाटर बफेलोज नहीं दिखे हमें। मैं सिर्फ एक सवाल कि विनोद बंसल जी, उस आदमी ने क्या बोला था? मुझे बीफ अच्छा लगता है या मुझे गाय अच्छी लगती है? तो इतना इसका जवाब दे दो, उसके बाद मैं अपने आप अपना ईयरफोन हटा के चला जाऊं।
विनोद बंसल जी,
नहीं मुझे बताइए कि ये एक नेशनल टीवी चैनल की डिबेट में जाकर के और गाय खाने की बात कर रहे हैं, इनको भी शर्म आनी चाहिए। गाय कहां बोला उसने? प्रयोग कितना ठीक है कि नहीं है? अरे एक सेकंड विनोद जी, मैं आपसे इसीलिए, अरे सर मैं इसीलिए, आप तो बोल रहे हो ना, आप तो हिंदू समाज को चढ़ा रहे हो ना, आप तो चढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो कि गाय खाने की बात करो। आपकी हिम्मत कैसे हुई ऐसे बोलने की? आपकी हिम्मत कैसे हुई ऐसे बोलने की? गाय खाने की बात कर रहे हो? अरे आपसे बड़ा हिंदू हूं मैं। आप सुअर खाने की बात करो, आपके अंदर हिम्मत है। आपको नहीं, बड़े हिंदू नहीं, हिंदुत्व का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं चाहिए, हिंदुत्व का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं चाहिए। टाइम्स नाउ हमें भी आपसे नहीं चाहिए। जानते हैं कि आप कैसे हिंदू हैं और आपका हिंदुत्व क्या है, हिंदुत्व की डेफिनेशन क्या है? मुझे नहीं चाहिए। अरे सर मुझे सर्टिफिकेट आपका नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन मैं कहना चाहता हूँ आप की बात क्यों करते हैं? आखिरकार क्या पड़ी आपको रेटिंग बोलने की? आपने सुअर रेटिंग की बात तो नहीं करी, आपने पिग ईटिंग की बात नहीं करी। आप बोल के दिखा दो ना मैं पिग ईटिंग करता हूँ। कैसी बात कर रहे हो जी? विनोद, ये सफाई मत दीजिए। एक सेकंड, सफाई मत दीजिए, मेरी बारी है, मुझे बोलने दीजिए।
ओके, एक सेकंड नहीं, रवि राय आपसे दोबारा कुछ सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं। रवि राय।
सर एक सेकंड, मैं कह रहा हूं आपका बिल्कुल, आप बिल्कुल सही हिंदू हैं, बाकी और कोई नहीं है। आपके हाथ में किसी को मंदिर जाने देना नहीं जाने देना। मैं सिर्फ आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, क्या उसने कहा मैं गाय खाता हूं या बीफ वर्ड यूज किया? बस इतना कह दो सर, मैं तो आपके साथ हूं सर। आप कल को चलोगे उसके घर भी चलूंगा मैं आपके साथ। जानते हैं विनोद जी, तो सब जानते हैं।
सूरजपाल हमू आपका जवाब देना चाहते हैं, बताइए सूरजपाल हमू।
नहीं आपके साथ की जरूरत नहीं है भाई साहब।
मैं रवि राय जी, एक सेकंड, विनोद जी एक मिनट जरा। अरे रवि राय जी, आप गोबर खाओ।
Okay, where is this going? No, Mr. Ramu, this is not okay. I think this is the point at which discourse where you can have a conversation goes completely downhill. The point is, you want to stand up for your sensitivities, do it within the ambit of the law, point number 1, and at some juncture, step back and see whether we want actively to be outraged about things which may not be outrageous at all at the end of the day, and to attribute motives to something that a man said, which is 1, not illegal, 2, his personal choice, 3, that he said it a decade ago. Are we working ourselves up into a frenzy because we like being in that state? Let's make that distinction. Thanks very much all gentlemen and Kunika Lal for joining me. Thanks for watching.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
When journalism is led by integrity and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate
question and uncover the whole truth.
Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school.
I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9. Only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please? क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं? I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start to the day. सिर्फ खबर दिखाना नहीं, असर होना भी.
You're watching the NewsHour at 10. The NewsHour at 10 will be right back after the break.
When journalism is led by integrity and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth and many lose sight of what is the real issue.
I ask the legitimate question and uncover the whole truth.
Don't tax the poor people who are using petrol, diesel to go to work or to send their children to school.
I give you the complete picture in black and white, not a colored opinion, facts that help you form your opinion.
The NewsHour at 9. Weeknights at 9. Only on Times Now.
Can we have your attention please? क्या आप दिन की सही शुरुआत ढूंढ रहे हैं? I believe in an action-packed, fast-paced and an agenda-setting start.
You're watching the NewsHour at 10.
When journalism is led by integrity and when experience meets passion, there is no scope for half-truths. When the noise drowns out the truth and many lose sight of what is the